Welcome everyone to Haven of Horror. As always, I am subject. I've got Robert, Tina, I don't remember the last name, Wild, and Noah, Glenn. I don't remember his last name either.
Oh no. I'm Johnny Depp.
You want to take two on that?
We're live. I can't.
Well, let's start over. We got time.
Start over. Everybody start over. So we're here to for the launch of our new series, despite Noah's constant complaining. We're going to be doing a double feature tonight of the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and I have the best release here, so I'm showing it off.
Hell yeah.
And then its remake, which is Noah's favorite in the series, which I thought was really weird. But he keeps asking me to watch it, and then he complains when I say yes, we'll watch it. I'm getting back and forth whiplash.
You know how you've seen a movie just too many times and you just kind of get sick of it?
No.
Anyway, we're here to watch the original Nightmare on Elm Street and the remake from 2010.
We are. So when did you guys first see this?
Torgo, you go first.
I think up at once.
Because I think I have the least interesting story, because I didn't watch this until a few years ago, honestly. When I was like going through a lot of the horror blind spots that I had getting more into the genre. This and Friday were like the two big franchises that I actually dove into a few years ago. And it's a solid movie. I really like it.
So real quick before Robert goes, because you're right, that was like the most boring.
I know.
So, because you started with this one, right?
I did.
Okay, so I love that you started Nightmare in order and went backwards in Friday the 13th, because you started with Jason X there.
Yeah. Well, and then
where I started with Jason X.
With the franchise as a whole, with Nightmare, I did jump around. I started with the first one, but then I think right after that, I skipped 2 and watched Dream Warriors.
Oh, so the only other good one.
Well, there's also 7.
Of the original 6. 7 is its own.
7's its own thing, yeah, and that's probably my favorite. I think I watched that next, or it might have. You might have made me watch 6 at some point before that.
We did watch 6 together, but I don't know if you'd seen 7 already. And that was such a disappointing watch, because I loved that one as a teenager. And I still stand by that first half is really good, just on a dumb, like, fun level. And then about halfway through, it just loses all of its energy.
Yeah, that's a movie I'm very curious to watch again, because I'll admit I was very sleepy in the second half, so I can't remember much of it.
Sleepy Noah.
Yeah, and Freddie got me, too.
Teddy, way to start your remake series with a bang. Yeah, it's the 40th anniversary, and Draven, Freddy vs. Jason is actually my introduction to both Friday and Nightmare. That is the first one I see in theaters. I was in 5th grade, and I saw that in theaters, and it was awesome. But yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, it's the 40th anniversary. Warner's has put out this wonderful-looking steelbook, which is why we decided to start with this. And then we will be spinning a wheel to see what we do next Friday. Because this coming Friday will be the end of our decades of horror. Are you gentlemen ready?
We didn't talk about Roberts. Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm in a similar boat as Noah. This isn't a movie I grow up with or see super early on. It's like 5 or 6 years ago. My friend has a ton of horror movies, and he has the first one on Blu-ray, so I borrow it from him. Watch it for the first time, really like it. And then on my first viewing, I remember being kind of let down by the ending, and I was like, oh no, am I going to be that guy who likes this classic film but doesn't like it? Only to find out that that's widely the general opinion.
Yeah.
Is that this movie doesn't quite stick the landing, so I'm not alone on there. We'll get to it when we get to it. But then I start going through them. I'm pretty sure I start with stuff like the Friday movies before this. I definitely hadn't seen all of them by that point, but I had gotten into the Friday movies first, and of course, Evil Dead and tons of other things. So this is another like just one of the big ones I finally got to 5 or 6 years ago, and really liked it. And then got the Blu-rays, the Blu-ray set, and went through the whole series. I guess maybe 3 years ago. So I've seen all of these now. This one stands out. This is a
You're
classic.
making me feel old. So I see
Sorry.
these as a teenager on my dad's VHS set that I bought him for like Father's Day or Christmas. Robert, do you know the one I'm talking about where like they all come together and it's like with a picture of Freddy on the side?
Yes, that I
I've
want
seen
that.
that too,
It's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, so that is how I watched them. The first one, I was just kind of in that transition from like Flock, like Jason X to like real horror, like the first one. The first one legitimately scared me, and I had to shut it off during the boiler room scene towards, I think it's towards the middle. But then I like the 3 and 6. 4 and 5 are watchable, but I can't separate them.
Same.
And then but my sister lost New Nightmare, so I didn't see that for a long time after. But no, I first see these on VHS. And Freddy's never been my favorite. He'd make a top 5 killers for me, probably. But the problem with the Nightmare series is for every good one, 1, 3, 7, you get a 2 or a 4 or 5 that are either bad, boring, or bland.
Yeah.
And we get a remake.
Yeah,
Which
which
we'll
I saw in
discuss later.
theaters.
Yeah, not to get too sidetracked on that, but I want to say the first time I ever even hear about Freddy Krueger is when that remake's coming out, and I see trailers for it. I don't go see it. I was definitely too young and not really into the horror genre yet. But it's the same with Friday the 13th, and I remember Halloween 2 specifically, seeing the trailers for that, and that was the first time I had ever heard of Michael Myers. And I was like, Halloween 2, like, what is this? What was Halloween 1? And this is like 2009 for the Rob Zombie one. So
That
yeah,
was
all
the
these
first
those
rated R
Platinum
movie I
Doom.
could go see by myself.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's
What?
all those Platinum Dooms remakes
It
when I
wasn't.
start hearing about these characters. So
We'll
yeah,
get back
I
to
don't
the
grow
chat
up
here in
with
a
Freddy.
moment. Yeah, see, and that's crazy because you're not that much younger than me.
I was
It's
also
just
scared
wild.
very easily as a tiny child. And this was just not my genre.
No, that's fair.
But I would say,
And
obviously,
to be fair,
you're
I have that up until 13 or 14. The last movie that I remember seeing that scared me was Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. And I mean, to the point, even after I got over that, I had to fast forward through the beginning because I had put like this mental block that I could not handle that zombie girl.
Yeah, and obviously, you're an exception. Most people aren't watching movies like RoboCop 2 when they're 4 years old. But I would say this holds up as a good, like, kind of gateway horror movie for. Yeah, again, I'm not saying this is generally appropriate for children. It depends on the kid, but if you're like 12 or 13 and you're starting to watch R-rated movies, this is a good one to start with. It can still hold up as being kind of creepy.
There's been 2 gory scenes.
It's like the bed.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it.
And like I said, if you're 13 years old, like that can still be kind of scary. That can leave an impact without being, traumatizing.
So anyway, we'll talk more about this as we go.
Yeah,
it's chat's pretty active, and I want to get to that as well. Yes, I have the timer up. Thank you, Robert. In 3, 2, 1.
Wait! I'm not ready.
You son of a bitch!
Ready.
That was a test. Okay,
wait,
let's do this.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm ready. We're good.
We're good.
In 3, 2, 1, play. The old New Line Cinema logo. Okay, Scream Factory really needs to get on making a box set of all the Nightmare movies, says Draven. I agree.
Agree.
Teddy, what sucks is people use it as proof that no one can play Freddy, which I don't agree. It's a tough role to do, but I don't think it's impossible. I also agree half-heartedly. Part of me agrees. Part of me doesn't really care to see a recasted Freddy. I'm torn. Like, I'd have to see it first.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I don't think Jackie Earle Haley's the problem with that movie. The movie's problem is its script. I think
I
Friday the
agree.
13th remake is
That's
the
the
better
bigger
remakes of
problem.
this era. No, it absolutely is. That
I
and
agree.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Although I watched the original Amityville Horror, and that remake from 2005 is closer than I thought.
I do like this weird small aspect ratio we do with this opening with Freddy building the glove. It's so dirty and grimy. It's immediately iconic.
Yeah, and he looks a lot dirtier and grimier here than he will in the rest of the series. And then
Yes.
because like by 6, you can't even tell that to be burn victim makeup. The MTV era happened, folks.
So, do you guys agree with me that when I think of 80s horror, the first thing I think of is Freddy Krueger? I think of Freddy Krueger as the face of 80s horror. Not to say that I think this is the best 80s horror movie. I think John Carpenter's The Thing or Evil Dead 2 are better movies. But when I think of just the decade of 80s horror
No.
into just one thing, I think of Freddy Krueger. I
So
think of Nightmare on Elm Street.
interestingly enough, even though I prefer Freddy, when I think 80s horror, I actually think Jason.
I do
Okay.
too. Because you got to remember, Jason was already on top of the box office by the time this comes out.
That's true. I think where I disagree a little though is it takes a few movies to get to what we think of as Jason, whereas we just nail this right out the gate with like this is what.
But see,
Nightmare on Elm Street.
I don't even think that's true. The Freddy that everyone thinks of is Part 3 Freddy.
That's fair, but he still cracks some jokes in this. He's not as jokey as Part 3, but I still think of
But
this.
So he
Classic
is
Freddy.
a little jokey here, but 3 is where you get the balance between this guy's scary, but he's also dropping one line. It's like, "Welcome to prime time, bitch."
It's before they went too far with it.
Yeah, what you mean? What you think doing Wicked Witch of the West impersonations is too far?
I mean, I guess it could be funny for a comedy sketch, not a movie.
Petty, for me personally, I'm just not a believer in only this actor can play this role. I know it's an unpopular opinion in fandom. I just think it's a case by case basis, right? Like, I could be won over on somebody else playing Freddy because I don't think that Jackie Earle Haley is the problem with that film. But on the flip side of that, to compare this to another 80s property, and Robert, you and I have talked about this to death, I resist recasting Ash. That is my hard limit.
Oh, yeah.
Because the difference,
We're on the same
Teddy,
page on that.
the difference, Teddy, is I think someone like Batman or Black Panther can always be recast because those characters aren't created with that actor. These characters are created with this actor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
by Freddy's Daddy's just a Looney Tunes character. It's fine. It's fine. That's Robert's favorite.
Oh God.
Oh, Robert, that's your favorite?
No. Yeah, I'm usually someone where if you have an iconic performance, you have an iconic movie that starts as a movie that isn't based on a book or something, I'm usually kind of hesitant or resist the idea of that being remade or recast. I'm not consistent with it. I have exceptions. And the thing with Freddy, as great as Robert Englund is and as difficult as it would be to top him, if you're going to say he's in the same camp as like the classic Universal monsters of your Draculas and your Frankensteins, like those are proof that you can do updates and new interpretations that actually work, that people like. Yes, obviously Dracula is based on a book that predates that movie, but Bela
everybody
Lugosi's
knows the
Dracula
movie version.
That's what people think of as Dracula more than the book version, and every version adaptation after that is either trying to replicate that or do the polar opposite. And I think theoretically someone like Freddy Krueger could be the same way if you just get the right actor with the right take on the material that puts their own spin on it. I think it can be done. I just don't think it has been done.
And don't get me wrong. I'm trepidatious before I outright no on this on Freddy, because I do think with the right vision, with today's technology, you can make something special.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest issue with this movie is that the potential of the gimmick, the dreams, are held back by how small this movie's budget is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp? I don't think that's necessarily a problem with this movie. It's just something that the sequels could expand upon because they had bigger budgets.
And then, in my opinion, when you get to the movies with the biggest budgets in the series, like Freddy versus Jason or the remake, my opinion, those are the ones with the worst effects because they go all in on CGI. It doesn't look good.
Well, and that's also that period, that late period, early period of bad CGI. 3 is kind of the best, where it starts to reach that potential of like these fantastical, like Worm Freddy that looks good.
Yeah, that looks incredible.
But you can always take it higher.
So
The New Nightmare has my favorite look with the trench coat.
Oh, I like that look too.
It's fine. That I don't know. When I think of Freddy, that's the last thing I think of. And just because it's in my brain, it's not Freddy. You know what I mean? Like it's a separate thing.
Yeah.
I think very much of part 3.
Yeah, 5 and 6 have.
Part
3 is iconic.
Definitive. Yeah.
And 5 and 6 definitely have the worst makeup.
What the fuck does he have on that tape? I've wondered this for like 10 years.
I don't know, but it's a fun game.
Death audio. But I always categorize this movie with like Psycho and then later Scream, where they introduce a character that you think is going to be the main character at first, and then they go a completely different direction with it and kill that character off. Spoilers if you're watching this for the first time for some reason.
And we'll get to it, but the remake like doubles down on that to the point that I think it's harmful to the actual protagonist.
I agree.
Because
we're gonna resist talking about the remake too much.
At the end of the day, I like the fake protagonist more than the actual protagonist.
And in this movie, it's all real. It's very natural. We're introduced to Tina. She's our initial Eisen character, and then we're introduced to her group of friends through her. It's all very organic. The pacing is perfect.
And it's not a twist that I see done a lot in modern movies, I think, because maybe they don't want to get compared to something like this or Psycho.
Terrifier is probably the last thing I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, because remember, the first half you have Discount Sidney Prescott.
Right.
Well, and the Friday remake does that, but that's more of like the first 20 minutes is its own movie.
That's just kind of like a whole tribute to the series. So they're just doing every era.
Oh, I hope we land on that one.
But I will say right off the bat, I think Johnny Depp is one of the best actors in this movie. You can immediately tell this guy is just very natural and charismatic and talented.
And they all have one. Halloween has Jamie Lee Curtis. This has Johnny
Friday
Depp.
Kevin Bacon.
And Friday has Kevin Bacon. So speaking of Kevin Bacon, sorry, real quick. Robert Englund once said that was his pick to replace him as Freddy. I kind of want to see that.
I don't dislike that choice. He's a great actor with a ton of range.
Do you think he can play him now, though? Or would you want someone younger?
Freddy doesn't have to be a young... It would depend on how many sequels you wanted.
Not like young, but yeah.
But like Robert Englund's like, middle-aged.
If you get a good stunt double, it should be fine.
Yeah. And there's a rumor or kind of a myth that David Warner was originally cast as Freddy before Robert Englund. I've never seen this confirmed or actually have any facts to back it up. I think it's an interesting idea.
Part 2?
No, because part 2 they're originally using a stunt guy, and then someone says, "Oh, maybe we should get actual Freddy back and not just use a stunt guy."
So real quick, we have somebody in the chat. BJ? Any more real nightmares from Kruger used to show up in my dreams regularly?
That's too bad.
They gotta start making movies again.
I don't think I've ever had an actual bad dream that Freddy Krueger appeared in. Yeah, I don't think that's
Is that
ever
the like
actually-
Walmart version of this, Robert? And instead of a Nightmare on Elm Street, it's a bad dream on Elm Street.
That's the we have a Nightmare on Elm Street at home version.
It pains me to say this because I do like her, but Heather Langenkamp is kind of the worst actress in this movie, other than maybe the
I
mom.
disagree. I was gonna say I think the mom's worse.
The mom's probably worse. She's not bad in this movie, but I think she gets better as with each.
She's really
appearance
good
she
at
has,
3.
when she becomes a more experienced actor.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that because I don't think Heather Langenkamp's very good in this, particularly with the dialogue. But to give her credit, what she does bring is a lot of energy and effort and passion into the role, especially into the back half of the movie. That it's not this is not a bland performance, it's not a wooden performance. I just don't think she's always convincing in the dialogue scenes, but there is a lot of effort and energy that I really respect, that I think helps make the character likable and endearing. And on the page, I really like this character. Like this is an easy top 10.
I think she's
maybe
better
top
when
5 Final Girl.
I think she's better when she gets into Final Girl mode. I just don't think she knows how to play a regular high school student.
Which is funny because she's much younger than we typically high schoolers back in the day, because she is like 19 or 20, so pretty close to high school
that really
age.
cringy, like I look like I'm 20 or
Like
whatever.
20. It's like, yes, because you are 20. But you know,
BJ,
she has actual acne. Like
BJ says at least
younger.
one more with Robert. He's too old at this point, unless you're going to do an animated movie.
Yeah, no, I just want him to voice the character in something.
Also, can we just give props that this and 3, I think, are the only ones without like elongated like resurrection excuses for Freddy. He's just there.
Yeah. I think
Draven says I think they bring up David Warner in the Never Sleep Again documentary. I've only seen that once. It's a good documentary though. It's also like 4.5 hours.
What? Whoa! I didn't know that.
No, so Friday and Nightmare both get one, and they're super long. The Friday one is like 6 hours.
They're really comprehensive.
Yeah, and they go through all the films. Although
I don't think
the Nightmare one brings up the remake in much, because I don't think that had come out yet, but I could be wrong.
And they don't want to talk about it. Let's not talk about that.
I would have loved to hear Wes Craven's thoughts on that remake.
If it's anything like the John Carpenter thoughts on the new Halloween movies.
I don't
think
all love in the world to Wes Craven, and like he's one of my favorite filmmakers. He was a bit up his own ass with some of his movies.
I'll take your word for it. I don't know enough about
all
him.
I know is with the remake, nobody consulted him or called him or tried to talk to him about it.
It shows.
Oh, Draven says they even covered the TV show. And that's the cool thing, is both of those documentaries, the Friday one and the Nightmare one, covered the TV shows. Even though the Friday show has nothing to do with the movies. And there's one of the greatest simple effects of all time.
It's so good.
Remember when they did that in the remake?
Well, it's not.
We'll get to it.
It's crazy though, seriously, how that effect holds up to this day. Like, I think it still looks good.
I love the last bit, like when he goes back and like his head tilts up and you get that quick glimpse of like his nose and his brow. Like, it looks so good.
Yeah.
Also, I am happy to report so far this transfer looks excellent.
Cool. I need to pick that up. They gotta put out all of them. Do all of them in 4K.
I mean,
can you imagine Freddy's Dead in 4K?
Oh God, yeah. To mention, to go back to an earlier comment in the live chat, I agree that the series deserves like the real Scream box, box set treatment that Friday got, or Scream Factory, whatever.
Scream box is a different thing.
Scream box is another thing. That's another thing. No, I agree that it deserves that epic box set treatment. I don't know if I'd get it. I'm pretty happy with these. I'm kind of meh on most of these movies. Like, I'd upgrade 3 to 4K for sure, maybe New Nightmare, but I'm kind of happy with what I got.
And I don't have that. This is the only one I have on Blu-ray of any kind.
Wow.
Because the last time I saw that one, it was like $70. It's like fuck.
Oh
no.
god.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, I got this for like 20.
And I've heard that's a real cheap put together set.
It is. It's fine.
I'll fight you, Robert, because you know what the Scream Factory set would be worth it for? Think of all the bonus features you'd get.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, but A, this already has a decent amount of bonus features, and B, you already have the Never Sleep Again documentary. That's like 4.5 hours long.
So, I don't know if you guys know about this, but in that Never Sleep Alone documentary, I do remember this. This was filmed on location, and they got the cops called on them because people woke up to see a guy with really long arms chasing a girl down the alley.
Oh wow.
I love how just cruel he is in this one. And the other ones,
Yeah.
he's more playful, cruel. No, this one, he's just mean.
He's a bit more brutal, which they never bring back until 7, I think.
Yeah, like, he just chops his finger off. Why? Because he can.
And I will say also kind of a difference, though it shifts throughout the film. It's for a lot of these earlier sequences, it's more of Robert Englund's normal voice. Like, they haven't done a lot of the modulation yet. And
Yeah.
this might be a hot take. Yeah, I love the skeleton face. This might be a hot take. I kind of I find his just normal, kind of higher pitched Freddy voice creepier than the traditional deep voice. Just like the laughing he does in this.
It might
Like,
be creepier, but it sounds wrong to me. I've seen 3 too many times.
I can't imagine that voice saying "Welcome to prime time," bitch.
Yeah.
Welcome to prime time, bitch. But he does still. We do get the deep voice sometimes in this movie, like the "I'm your boyfriend now."
But he also
Like,
has
we
a
do
lot more
get
dialogue in this than he will in like 3. Real quick, Draven, speaking of which, I don't think Freddy's Nightmares has ever gotten a DVD release. I don't know about that, but I do know one of the big launching points of that Screenbox service that Robert mentioned on accident was that they had all of Freddy's Nightmares.
Cool, and you could probably watch them on YouTube or something in shitty quality. But
I do want to watch
they're
it
out
at some
there.
point. James says he's got the DVD set from '99, but it's missing the bonus disc.
Oh,
I think I'm
So-
pickier than Robert. I need like a quality set if I'm gonna buy.
but we just talked over the best kill in the movie. I still think holds up great. Like, that
It
sequence
is
is
not
amazing.
the best kill in the movie. Fuck you.
We're gonna get into
I'm not
that
gonna
debate.
agree.
You
Second
think it's
best.
better than the bed?
No, this one I think this is the best one.
Oh, I think the
Easy.
Johnny Depp bet is way better.
I think that's better too.
Oh, okay.
You're
I don't
outnumbered.
think I'd be in the
Robert.
minority on this. Okay, yeah, no, the way they built that set, like, it's a spinning set with her crawling around and then she's on wires. Like, I think that it's very visceral. It's very scary. I think it's awesome.
I mean, it's a great kill, but
I just find it a lot more brutal and visceral. The Johnny Depp one's more funny and like, whoa,
have you met
it
me?
goes for more of a whoa factor. Yeah, but this I think is a lot more intense.
So, do you know about the Johnny Depp one though? Because that's using that same set.
Yeah.
And there was a mishap where when they were turning it, and the whole room flooded with that fake blood, and they about killed all of themselves.
Oh my god.
And here we have John Saxon as the
Which will
dad.
tie into Draven. It's funny how John Saxon plays the exact same role in this and Black Christmas. He
Might as well
played this role a lot. He's in an Argento movie that I watched recently, and he's also a cop in that. What was it? No, was that that movie
Was
with
it
the monkey?
Phenomena?
Yeah, was that
Was it
Phenomena?
I don't remember him being in that, but I can look it up.
Yeah, he in his later years gets cast in a lot of dad roles or cop roles.
And he would play this role 3 times. Well,
Kind of, yeah.
2 and then
2.5.
Nightmare. New Nightmare.
I think maybe John, you were thinking of Tenebrae. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yes, Tenebrae, which is a great movie.
Yeah, I've
I
yet
don't
to
remember
see
anything
that.
about it at this point. My brain is like fried, but I remember I loved it. That is the cleanest looking footage I've ever seen on an 80s TV. Especially at that size. And here we have one of the worst moms in all of cinematic history.
All right,
Maybe
who's
not
worse?
the worst.
Who's worse? This mom or the Terrifier 2 mom?
This mom.
That's true. The
This mom takes
Terrifier 2
active
mom.
steps to put her daughter in harm's way by locking her in the house. Arguably, she's the one that gets Glenn killed.
And the Terrifier 2 mom also never burned anyone alive.
True. That we know of.
True.
We don't know what they did.
know.
Hey, we don't know what she did to her husband. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's a good point.
That's true. I will say, I think the mom in this and the mom in that are of about equal acting caliber.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's not actually a problem for me. It's just kind of fun. It doesn't take me out.
It doesn't ruin either for me, but I do find that I'm more lax on an 80s slasher. Because like that's the expectation, right? Some bad acting, some good kills, a killer that you're invested in. And maybe it's also just because I grew up with that, you know, like. Teddy says, I can't believe that in the first Nightmare film, the killer is actually Freddy's mother. Oh, that's a different movie.
Oh.
Yeah, this movie is like that weird middle ground where it's like kind of a studio film, but also very low budget. It has a lot of inexperienced people working on it. But then you have Wes Craven directing it, who has directed movies before. It's like this weird mix. You know, it's not like Friday the 13th, which was made for $2 and was like almost everybody's first movie.
But I mean, that also had a major studio backing it.
That's true.
I just think people have forgotten what studio movie means. Like, BJ, the beginning of part 1 and the end of New Nightmare is what I avoid watching the most. Part 2 is the most terrifying to me. My favorite. I'm in the minority. I think part 2 is terrible.
I like 2. I think it's got some
I don't
scary
think it's
moments.
terrible, but it's one of the weaker entries.
I don't understand how your takeaway from this movie is, what if we put Freddy in the real world? Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah,
No.
I don't care about that at all.
I think the premise of 2 is scarier than this one, though. Of like somebody is controlling you when you're sleepwalking. I think that was a good twist on the gimmick. You know, something different.
The movie's also really unfortunate when you think about it for a minute.
No, there's plenty of dated things about it that don't work, but I also
That's
get
more
it's
funny
become a
cult
cult favorite.
Anything.
It was at least more interesting than 4 and 5, from what I remember.
But 4 has Robert keeps telling me it's 4, and I'm taking his word on it. Because I can't remember between 4 and 5. Yeah, has one of the greatest kills in the entire franchise, though.
Yeah, 4 has a couple good kills and a great climax.
Do you remember the cockroach kill?
Oh yeah, that's 4.
Yeah, apparently that's what Robert tells me.
Which one has the pizza?
Robert?
That's 4.
Okay.
Is that also 4?
God, what happened in 5?
Yeah, I guess 5 is the worst out of the 2 then. I don't remember anything about it.
It is more forgettable. That's the one where Alice is pregnant. That's the dream child one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's got a really weak
the only
climax.
thing I remember is I do remember the ending of that because it's insane.
It is. 5 also has the very infamous Super Freddy scene.
Yeah.
It's that one. The thing with 5, and I know I'm in the minority in this one, I prefer 5 over 4 just because I at least find it a little bit more interesting because it's just weirder. And why I'm not a big fan of 4, even though I know that's a fan favorite, is by the time we get to 4, I'm sick of the formula. It's another group of teens that have to convince people that Freddy's real, and it's just the same thing over and over again, and we kill off all the dream warriors in the first 10 minutes, and I hate that.
I mean, that part does suck. But Robert, okay, so I have to ask, just because I'm curious. You're sick of the formula of Nightmare on Elm Street, but you're a Friday the 13th fan.
Because those aren't weighed down by exposition and lore and obnoxious characters. Those are much more, for me, just kind of breezy, simple watches, for the most part.
Okay.
With Nightmare by part 4, I'm like, okay, now I'm tired of this formula.
That's fair.
Because these movies get a lot more bogged down in exposition than the Friday movies do.
And which is funny because when you think about it, they don't have their continuity sorted out any better than Friday does. Teddy, I like Nightmare 2, Ducks and Covers. Is what it is. That is the least interesting premise you could do for a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Tom Atkins asked, Nightmare 2 might be my favorite Freddy.
He's great in it. It's the last you get of really dark, scary Freddy.
Yeah, but I like a killer that enjoys what he's doing. Come on.
He doesn't too. But he's scary. He's still dark.
Yeah, but how many times are you going to see him, his fingers turn into needles and go, what a ride.
Yeah, then part 3's fun.
It's more fun than 2. It's just a fact, folks.
Dana, where the hell's
and
the
3's great.
Oh, wait, that's a different movie.
Where the hell's Corkscrew?
So I think so this is just a minor thing that I remember from the others is I think we'll see him shirtless in another movie and his burns go all the way down. So it's really funny that here he's just like a normal dude from the neck down.
Yeah. What a glaring continuity mistake, Wes.
The sweater.
He didn't come back. It's fine.
It's a fire resistant sweater. The Freddy guy thinks it.
It really only his face and hands got burned.
So I remember as a kid, I found this website that kept track of the slasher movie killers kills, and Freddy has the least because he has one of the shorter franchises. Say what you will, but New Line just didn't keep bringing him back and back. Freddy's Dead was the final nightmare in that continuity. But and this was before any of them came back, in the late 2000s remakes. It was funny to me that Jason had the most, and because I was thinking about this, Jason's arguably not in 3 of his movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and he still had the highest body count.
Well, that's just because he had more movies, like you said. He got to 10. Freddy only got to 6.
But if you take 3 off, because he's not in 1, he's not in 5, and you can argue for 9. That's only 7 movies.
Oh, true, yeah.
Well, Jason's all about the quick kills, Freddy, and why I get the appeal of this franchise is it's all about the set pieces, we really take our time with Tina's death, and especially in the sequels with these big elaborate sequences. Freddy doesn't rack up the quick kills as much as Jason does.
Yeah, because he's not in for the kills, especially by Thor. And Freddy versus Jason will solidify this: is he wants them to be afraid. Which is why it made me laugh when everybody was pissed about the way Chapter 2 ends. They do the same thing that this movie does. They beat him by not being afraid anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not afraid anymore. Yeah, and I mean, this is one of the few movies that does that trope that I'm fine with.
I mean, I'm not defending it, Chapter 2. I've always said, at a book level, King should have just made that about the kids part and cut it off there, because even in the book stuff, the adults suck.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
So, Robert, we disagree with the best kill is. Can we agree that the lamest kill is Rod here?
Yes.
Why did Freddy stage it like a suicide or an unaliving himself?
I think you can't say that word. I think it's to mess with Nancy. It kind of draws that out because everyone thinks that she's crazy. people aren't believing her. I think it works. It becomes more of a problem with the sequels when you have hundreds of dead kids and parents still aren't taking this seriously.
Well, that's why I can't take, like, I know people complain, but I can't take Freddy versus Jason as continuity because there suddenly everybody believes and like treat it like a plague. And how does that fit in with part
Yeah,
6? Where all the
that's
kids
all
are
the
dead?
camera.
No, if there's anything I respect 6 for, is that's the greatest status quo for a slasher movie that I've ever seen. He killed all of his victims. Now he wants more. Tom Atkins, at least we had Bill Hader's Richie. He's great. That casting was not the problem with that movie.
No, the casting in part 2 is actually pretty good for everyone except like the fat kid, and he's okay.
I thought it was fun.
He's just okay.
But back to this movie.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a classic. I think it's great, and like you said, there's just a lot with this premise you could do with another movie. Because at its core, what you have are teenagers where there's something wrong with them. They're in danger, and their parents aren't listening to them. Go. Like, there's so many different ways you could explore that. That you get to varying degrees in the sequels, and the remake tries some things. But it's like this premise has a lot of potential, and with just the dream gimmick, this isn't something like Michael Myers where there is only so much you can do with that. This has infinite possibilities with what you can do visually, and it's.
No, it's kind of here's the famous shot.
The iconic shot, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funnier knowing how they do that because there really is just a guy up there.
Yeah, the main special effects.
That's so awkward.
Is between her legs.
So I can't remember. Is that CGI?
She is 6.
Is that CGI in the remake? I can't remember.
That I don't think is CGI.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think the hand is, but when she gets pulled into the tub, it probably is.
Well, they don't do that in the remake. We'll get to it.
Oh, did they not? Okay.
But no, something that people don't talk about is just because we had that glut of 80s slashers, which give them to me all day. This is kind of the most genius of them.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's the only one that isn't a one-trick pony.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I started this saying that this is what I think of when I think of 80s horror, because the slashers are very specific to the early 80s, and obviously Jason is iconic. I agree with you guys on that. But I think what I was talking about more with this movie is just the music, the tone, the fashion, just stylistically. Like, this is the most 80s of those to me. And then this spawns stuff like Hellraiser and Child's Play and all sorts of other things.
But the thing is, Robert, like, obviously, it's what you think. But when you ask somebody what you think of slashers, they're going to say it's a guy in a mask with a knife.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue people are going to think more of Michael Myers or Jason for 80s than they are Freddy, even though people love Freddy. Because he is not in the mold of 80s horror.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize if I mispronounced this. Yaki Flores, welcome in. Thanks for the emojis.
Hey, what's she watching?
Remember The Evil Dead?
I remember The Evil Dead.
And this, of course, started a kind of war between them.
Evil Dead starts that.
A game of tag.
Yeah, because
in form.
In The Evil Dead, there is that torn up the Hills of Eyes poster.
Yes, which is sorry, that's where it starts, right? Do you know why Raimi does that?
I don't remember what
because
the
in
motivation
the Hills
was.
Have Eyes, there is like a torn up Jaws poster or a reference to Jaws.
Okay, that's what's
And Raimi
Okay.
put in The Hills Have Eyes.
And now, why that guy in that cabin has the Hills Have Eyes poster, I don't know. It's just
Fine.
funny. So, and then we get the Evil Dead, on the TV in this movie, and then in Evil Dead 2, you see Freddy's glove, in the basement.
Does Wes ever respond to that?
I don't remember.
You think I know? I watched all of his movies last year.
You should be the expert.
I know that they brought the glove back for Actors Evil Dead. It's still there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Professor Nobi is just a big Wes Craven fan.
Oh, so we just got the I look 20 years old line. So I have many questions. First off, she's in high school. She can't be, what, 15, 16, maybe 18?
Well, she's supposed to be 16 or 17. That's how I always talk.
Do 16-year-olds often go, man, I look 20?
Yeah, that's a weird choice of number, but the idea is that, like, she's not getting sleep and it is looking awful. Like, she's looking older than she actually is, which will become a literal thing when her hair starts to change color.
I love the gray
entirely
streak.
sure.
I wish more slashers would do something with that.
Sure.
Tom Atkins, do you prefer this or the first Scream? I rated the first
Probably.
Scream higher just because I think that is a masterpiece at what it's doing. But I will always prefer the sincere over the satire. So I think at the end of the day, even though I think Scream is a better film, mostly because its ending isn't embarrassing,
Yeah.
I prefer this just because it is a sincere, like, just honest to God 80s slasher.
Yeah, I love Scream. That's one of my favorites. So yeah, I'd put that over this. But I do like this a lot. It's a lot of fun.
You fucking heathen.
And I mean, some things do meta better than others, and the first Scream is one of those things.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I will say Scream is better than New Nightmare, and you can fight me on that.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
love
won't-
New Nightmare, but
I won't
yeah.
fight you on that. Yeah. I don't know if many people would fight you on that, actually.
Like, I like
No.
New Nightmare, but I think it gets really lost at the end of, like, what it's actually trying to say.
Yeah,
Well,
fair.
it's just the tradition of most of these movies having bad endings. Fits right in.
The only one that has a good ending is 3.
The good-ish. There's one major problem I have with that ending.
Oh, really?
It's when Ghost John Saxon shows up to Nancy in a bad effect, and she thinks she's awake for some reason, and dies in a really stupid way. No, that's a problem because that's
No,
Nancy's dad.
I have.
I'm allowed to be upset about
I've never liked how Nancy goes out in that.
But everything else in that ending is great.
She doesn't even question it.
Mm-hmm. It feels like a betrayal of the character. But everything else is great. 3 is great.
Just should have left her alive.
Yeah, or they could have done what their original plan was, which was to bring Nancy back in the 4th one as a ghost, and she'd be like the angel, and Freddy would be the devil to the characters. Like, Ghost Nancy could have been fun.
I
Kind of wish we got that.
where I saw it, but I saw a video reviewing a comic that follows whatever the 4 and 5 girl's name is, and it goes with that premise.
Wait, so the original idea was Nancy was supposed to be a Force ghost?
Yeah. I mean, Freddy's a ghost. I don't know.
Okay, that's
No,
kind of weird.
the movie that we got starts with a dog peeing fire. Like,
that's true.
No,
and that resurrects Freddy.
I'm just thinking it's just Obi-Wan Kenobi in the original Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the same effect. Just sits on a log. Same thing.
Okay.
Freddy just
so is she asleep
T-1000
right now?
through the bars.
Yeah, she's asleep, and for some reason she's seeing what's happening to Rod, but I think it's fine.
Can he not feel the sheets like wrapping around his throat?
Well, he's asleep too. I don't think we've gotten to that bit yet.
Okay, so Robert, if you were asleep and I just came in your room and started wrapping a sheet around your neck, you're not gonna wake up?
I don't know. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but you'd be surprised what people can sleep
That's
through.
true.
Like, Jesus Christ. uh, so I don't know.
I think it's just because he never does anything like this again. So like simple and
Mhm.
kind of blame.
I think my justification of it is it's just to fuck with Nancy to make people think that, oh, she's just crazy. Like, obviously that guy killed Tina. Obviously he then killed himself. It's just to draw it out, just
This is
just to draw out the
gross.
misery.
Ugh.
Yeah. Nancy, just don't step in the obvious markers with the gooey stuff.
Something
That's the
that's
thing
funny
that you
to
should
me,
be afraid of as a kid is quicksand stairs.
books. You know, I've never lived in a house with a second story.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Neither have I.
Okay.
You know what's funny though? Out of all the things that became iconic for this franchise, I didn't think it would be the fucking house. But it keeps
Yeah,
coming back.
by part 3, it's just the Elm Street house for some reason, and I think by 4 or 5, it's like, oh, this used to be Freddy's house, and you're like, no, it wasn't. It was Nancy's. What are we doing?
No, and then by
Well, the
six,
house
you're
is in
like, I've
2.
always had a thing for the horrors in this house. I'm like, what are you talking about?
So the iconic locations in this series, it's the house and the boiler room, and that's it.
And the boiler room at least makes sense. That's Freddy's, hideout.
That's where he
his-
was killed.
That's his home base. That's his bat
Why
cave.
does the house stick around?
Yeah.
That's a cool looking house.
Well, it's
Yeah,
weirder
it's a
because
house.
then in 2, the guy moves in here and like Nancy's journal is here, and it kind of acts like she either went insane or died.
Which,
Um,
to be fair, you could do anything after the end of this movie because I don't know what's happening.
but then in 3, she's fine and a
Yeah,
therapist.
in 3, she's a working
No, you can tell 3 was like,
working
just,
lady.
just forget 2. We know nobody liked it.
That's why it works as such a sequel to this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so much more. I would kind of compare it to like Rises is more of a sequel to Begins than to The Dark Knight.
Sure. And no, to get back to your question earlier about the original plans for Ghost Nancy. Someone feel free to correct me if this is incorrect. But what I've heard is that the ending of 3, when you get that final shot of like the popsicle stick Elm Street house, when like the light turns on and that's the final shot of that movie, that was supposed to signify Nancy's return, not Freddy's.
Oh, okay.
And then if they just dropped that for so.
Everyone's favorite film director, Rennie Harlan, was like, "No, I'm gonna make a dog pee fire."
And again, 4
Hey,
has some good
don't-
sequences and has some good visuals, but I don't like that movie very much.
John, are you really gonna insult the auteur who made Die Hard 2?
Yeah, it's
Die Harder.
fuck Die Hard 2.
Die Harder?
Noah's over here like, "That's my favorite Die Hard movie.
Yeah,
You
just
should
as
watch
much
it.
as
It's actually
Nightmare.
really good."
That's my favorite Die Hard movie, and then Nightmare 2010 is my favorite Nightmare movie.
We have this on camera.
We have it on camera. I'm flipping that motherfucker.
You just upload it as a short.
Yeah,
No context.
proof that Noah's a fraud.
Oh no. Send all your hate comments to me.
I'll link his YouTube channel in the description. Robert, we're gonna need you to sign up for a letterbox so we can start putting in the video descriptions. So this will be my 70th horror film for the month.
Nice.
Wait for the month.
Yeah.
You okay, John?
No.
I don't think he is.
I watched that
70
movie
movies.
False Positive yesterday on Hulu. That shit
Yeah.
sucked.
Are you getting through a lot of bad movies this month, or has it been like 50-50?
Here, it's kind of been 50-50, but I'll send you my list because I keep track of everything.
Okay, yeah, I'll take a look. Live on stream. Yeah, you guys are right. I think this is probably the lamest death in the movie.
It is, but it's the first.
I mean, to be fair, there's 3 big kills, and 2 of them are awesome.
Yeah.
But no, like, this is one of the lamest in the franchise. Like, even shit that's kind of stupid, like Super Freddy, at least it, like, looks creative, and...
Yeah.
There you go, Noah.
Okay.
And here we have the first of many, many funeral scenes in this franchise. Get used to this. Again, this is why I keep saying, when we get to part 4, I'm like, oh my god, I'm sick of this already. It's the same.
Well, but thing. Robert, we know where they're going. They're going to kill he's going to kill all of the teenagers. And Roseanne Barr is going to lose her mind.
Oh, God.
In the 6th movie.
John, for a second, I thought that this was a ranked list, so I was surprised that Salem's Lot and Velma were so high.
It said in the description, not a ranked list.
And then I was like, oh, this can't be a rank list, can it? And then I read that.
Also, this is the only movie where they call him Fred Krueger, and it sounds wrong to me.
That does sound so wrong, yeah. He's Freddy.
I just need you guys to know that The Omen 4 is really boring for the last 5 minutes where it gets insane.
Okay.
So
I only care about watching the 3rd one. Or is Sam Neill also in 4, or is he just in 3?
No, he's just in 3.
Okay.
4 is a made-for-TV movie. They could not afford Sam Neill.
Okay, I didn't know it was made for TV.
No, you should watch 2, though. It is actually pretty good.
Okay.
The Omen 4 is the Karate Kid, the next generation of that franchise, and I will not explain that reference. You either get it or you don't.
I kind of get it.
No, I would not recommend 4, but I have to tell you this. Okay, so because 4 is kind of just a shitty remake of the first movie, but this time it's Damien's daughter. But the twist at the end is find out that she's been holding the embryo of her twin brother inside her since she was born. And this cult that wants to bring about the Antichrist waited until she was old enough to have it transplanted out of her and into her adoptive mom, so that her adoptive mom could give birth to her twin brother, who is the Antichrist.
Of course.
Wait, why is Damien not the Antichrist all of a sudden? Or we're going to get too much of a tangent into that.
So, do you care about spoilers for 3?
Not really.
He dies at the end.
Okay.
Yeah. We defeat the Antichrist.
Oh,
and
no.
I don't know about you guys. I don't trust Roger Rabbit with his sleeping experiment.
Is that who that is?
It is. That is who that is. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't distrust him. I don't trust that the mom is just like sitting there watching. Sleep, motherfucker. G should call him Groundskeeper Willie. Oh wait, that's the remake. Never mind.
He's not going to try to play patty cake with the mom, is he?
Oh God.
Oh God.
So I love that she just is out here to ask, like, what is the theme of this movie? What are dreams?
Also, and then his response is, "We still don't know. Just body, incredible hocus pocus." I'm just a doctor in the 80s saying that. How qualified is this guy?
I mean, he's also letting her smoke in a room of medical equipment.
Yeah,
well, everybody smoked back then. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's 80s medical training.
Yeah. I want it to be like the scene in Inception where he's like, when I say don't think about elephants, what do you think about?
Oh no, I'm doing it.
And I love that the mom somehow like got twice as tan like overnight, apparently.
Is that because it's just a darkly lit scene, or does she look actually more tan.
No, because
Who's
even when you get back to the house, when the movie decides now she's an alcoholic, um,
To be fair, that
You
is
can see
set
it
up
more.
pretty early. Yeah, it progresses throughout the film. And in an earlier scene, we see her pour a drink into her coffee. So it is set
That's
up.
kind of like a blink and you'll miss it part.
yeah, because
Yeah,
look,
that's
even
there.
here with the lights on, like, no, she's visibly tanner.
And like I said, seems like a nice lady. Again, it doesn't hurt the movie for me. I think she is the worst actress in this, but it's just it adds to the camp, it adds to the charm. Like this is a movie I could see somebody watching though and saying, "Oh, it's dated, it's not scary." It's like, yeah, I get it. It just comes down to personal taste and sensibilities.
Oh,
Like I
do
still
I
think
have
it's
a
fun.
story for you when we're done?
Okay,
Okay.
put a
No,
pin in
no,
there.
you know what I'm about. You know what I'm going to talk about.
Not immediately, but we'll talk about it later. What do you guys think of the main theme for this? Because it's not one of the more like iconic slasher movie themes. Like most
Okay,
people
so
think of Halloween.
this is where I'm
Yeah.
going to sound a little dumb. I know that is the main theme. That is not what I think of when I think of the main theme. I think of that
What
stupid
do you?
jump rope song.
Yeah.
That's
I
fair.
mean, that's actually more
It's an important
iconic.
part
I
of the
think,
music.
That is more iconic than any of the actual score in this movie.
the actual score.
Well,
I
and
do
to be
like.
fair,
I do actually like the score in this movie, though.
there is kind of a link between like that Freddy's coming from you for you nursery
From
rhyme
you?
and the
Oh
main
my
theme.
god, what is he doing?
Yeah, that's a part
What?
too.
Oh,
But no, there is some overlap with the with the beats of the music. Like if you're paying attention to it,
Yeah, no,
they
I'd
do
argue
weave it.
that that is this movie's, like Halloween theme or
yeah.
It's arguably remembered more than like the score part of it. But this is the stuff. This is the drama in it that I think is very timeless, and you could very easily update and do stuff with, like this mom falling apart, trying to gaslight her child because she thinks she's protecting her. Again, I think the acting's kind of corny,
so.
but subject matter wise,
If
the still.
if Heather Langenkamp was a better actress, right around now she would have been a perfect rogue.
Yeah,
You're just saying
Yeah,
that
what's
because
the-
the white.
Eh,
I did have that thought a second ago. Just
she
to
probably
be
would have
fair.
been better than the one that we
Rogue.
got. Like I like that actress in those early X-Men movies, but she's
Oh.
not great.
Yeah,
I'd argue she's a better actress than Heather Langenkamp. It's just a very different take.
I
on
think
the
she's
character.
probably about on par in the first X-Men movie as Heather Langenkamp is in this one.
Which is the only time she gets anything meaningful to do.
Yeah, I don't know. I think she's fine in that. Yeah, the way just her inflections, just like Fred Krueger can't come after you now. Like she's got a little bit of Shatner in her. The way this song.
Stop competing with me, Nancy.
You're sick.
I want to see William Shatner voice Freddy Krueger.
That would be amazing.
That would be
This
amazing.
is gone.
And she's gone. Gone.
Don't throw the hat away, Nancy. That's your evidence.
So I had the weirdest complaint in these movies when I was a kid. It's like he always loses the goddamn hat, and he looks lame without the hat. He needs to keep the hat on.
I mean, you're right. He does look lame without the hat.
It's just like in every movie where Jason has to lose the mask for some reason. It's like, why? Like that's
That's usually at the end.
so is the hat. Just leave the mask on. Leave the hat on.
But at least with Jason, a lot of times when he's unmasked, except for in like Jason Takes Manhattan, he looks awesome without the mask.
Jason Takes Manhattan has one of the best Jason designs. I don't know what you're talking about.
Are you sure?
Okay.
The best is part 7 when he loses the mask.
Well, I mean, that's just the best Jason design in general.
Yeah.
That's true. To reference the Red Letter Media commentary on this film, which is very entertaining, and everyone should listen to it. Mike has a great bit here where he's like, I'm worried about this burger. I think he's gonna drop his hamburger into the pot. Why is he eating it here?
No, yeah, this is
It
like
gives me
stressful.
anxiety. Like, don't set your food on that. It's gonna fall.
No, I've never understood setting any having anything and leaning over a bridge. Like, I'd be terrified to drop it.
Yeah, just don't drop it.
I mean, we're
Just
clearly on like a
just get
campus
good.
somewhere. My theory is that's just what they felt like was the most interesting location in that area to shoot that scene on, and they couldn't do it in
Yeah.
more of like a cafeteria area because then you'd have to hire 100 extras, and they didn't want to do that. So that's probably why they shot that on that bridge.
Draven G, which Jason is the slimy Jason? That's part 8.
That's very slimy. Dude.
Okay, real quick, just this is related to tonight's commentary. Do you guys want to do the wheel between movies or after?
We can do it after.
Yeah, we'll do it after. Save it for the very end.
1428 Elm Street.
Yeah, because I think the plan is this is going to be one long epic live stream, and then you'll split these up into 2 videos and post
I
them
forgot
later.
to record these separately. I'll just
Oh no!
I just have to download it.
Well, I'm gonna have to take a break in the middle. I need to prepare. I need to prepare myself.
You two aren't allowed to break.
No.
Okay, so we have to talk about this. This is the most notable deleted scene of this movie is, and I kind of wish they left it in. I get why they cut it, but do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Is this with Nancy's sister?
Yes. Or brother.
Actually,
I don't remember if they
I
specified.
actually don't know about this scene.
So this is where we get the exposition about Freddy was a killer and all the parents banded together and murdered him because he got away with it, but they knew he was guilty. This was a much longer scene where the mom says, you used to have an older sibling. All those kids used to have older siblings who were murdered by Freddy, and making it a lot more personal. And I like that more specific connection. I kind of wish that that was kept in. I assume the reason why they cut it was maybe it's a bit of a stretch that every family would have a dead kid that they just not talk about or pretend didn't exist. Like, that works fine for Nancy. Like, that works fine for a protagonist, because sometimes that's how families cope with trauma with losing a kid is, we just don't want photos. We don't want to talk about them. Like, that can happen. You don't think the whole neighborhood, because you think one of these other kids would be like, oh yeah, I had a older brother or older sister who died in an accident or something. So it's one of those things where if you start thinking about it, it gets kind of weird and breaks down. So I can kind of see why they cut it.
Yeah.
But I do like that it probably, but I do like that it gives Freddy a more personal connection to Nancy and to these parents, where it's not just like a Evil Dies Tonight community effort.
I mean, does he need more personal than you fuckers burned me alive?
No, but I meant with like Nancy.
Personal for Nancy.
Like, and I think it just adds to it that it's not just her parents got together and contributed to this, but that they also had a dead kid.
I've always loved the sins of the father aspect. I think it's fine just leaving it at that.
I forgot he had a Rush poster.
Because part of this movie, like you described, is coming of age, and part of coming of age is dealing with the sins of your father or mother, or whoever.
Yeah. Well, with what you just described, I feel like the one change you could make is instead of she didn't know that she had an older sibling, it could have been like, oh, she knew that she had an older sibling, but thought he or she like died in an accident or something.
Yeah.
Like,
honestly, if you're gonna do that, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Have it be the mom was killed, she lives with her dad. Easy as that.
But Freddy's a child murderer.
Right. And I like...
So explain the ending.
Well,
I'd change the ending as well.
we see Freddy kill plenty of adults throughout the franchise, talking more about his backstory. But still, I like the idea that, like, Nancy's parents, losing a child and then...
Well, no, I don't mean killing when he was alive. I mean like in Freddy versus Jason, where the connection is that he killed her mom at some point. Because he's already out and running around as the Dream Demon.
Well, I
Have him
don't care about it.
have him at some point having had killed Nancy's mom, but nobody knows how, or what happened. So she lives with her dad, and then she finds out and finds that it's because of the sins of her parents. You can still keep that thematically, and
But I don't know. I think that would still be here, though. It's still Freddy punishing these kids for their parents killing him. And again, on paper, I like this drama. I like that she lives with her mom and her parents are divorced, and like I think that, at least on paper, the family drama works fine for
we're
me.
getting ready for the
That's what we
best
got.
kill in the movie, Noah.
Yeah,
Do you
objectively
guys
better than the first one.
do you guys wish that they got to keep it longer? Because
Yes.
because originally it's not just the geyser of blood. You also see a skeleton fly up and hit the roof.
It's amazing.
That would have been better. Yeah.
That
I
would have
think
made
that
this the
footage is
best
out there
kill in any
somewhere.
slasher movie.
I think
I
that
wonder if
footage
that's
is
in
out
the
there
unrated
somewhere.
cut.
I don't know, because again, I could be incorrect on this. I think that only exists in like shitty daily VHS footage, so I don't think they would have put that back in. It could be mistaken. Um, but yeah, I'm guessing the unrated cut's just like a few seconds longer, just a bit more blood. But yeah, Johnny Depp's death coming up, that scene was supposed to go on way longer, and the censors really made them cut it down to like just when the blood hits
Fuck
the
you,
roof. We cut pretty
censors.
quickly after that. Yep. Yeah, he was very unhappy about it. And I love how to the very end, Glenn is just the most clueless character, but he's so likable. I like that he's a good friend to Nancy. He obviously likes her, and that's why he's going along with it. But it's like he never really believes in the Freddy stuff.
Yeah. But it's realistic. It's like, how would you believe?
Okay, so it is not. It looks like it is about 8 seconds difference, but it is longer. Tina and Glenn's deaths are both longer.
Okay.
Mhm.
But I don't think even the longer cut has the part with the skeleton. This scene's really funny. This he just grabs another coffee pot right from under the bed. The mom didn't smell that. It
Which
was on.
I drink coffee on a daily basis. I make my own coffee. No, that's not how that works. Yeah, no, that's what I was referring to.
Yeah, I gotcha.
No, but the big thing I remember watching these as a kid is one of my favorite lines. From Freddy's is actually from Part 6, where he's like, "Every street, every town has an Elm
That's when they
Street."
don't care anymore. What does that mean? Shut up, Freddy. You
No,
fraud.
I mean they acted like they cared, but like yeah, nobody involved with 6 gave a shit except England. He's still giving a great performance.
But and again, that's why in the original cut, though, that's why he's going after these kids specifically, because it's their parents who did this to him. Because they lost children. Some of their children were his victims.
Well, I mean, it's even a stretch in 3 because they're apparently the last of the Elm Street kids. What does
Yep.
that mean?
Yep. And then by part 4 and 5, or no, these are actually the last of the Elm Street kids.
No. To be fair, Patricia Arquette's character, what is her name?
I don't
Oh, I
remember.
can't remember. Yeah.
From 3, the Dream Warrior.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, no.
Yeah, we know you're
No, to be fair, they established in those movies, I do remember this, that Freddy only starts going after them because she pulls them into her dreams. He reaches out to them through her. It's not because they're Elm Street kids.
Okay.
Fuck you, Robert. I know my continuity. Slightly. Remember in 4 when for like the first 10 minutes where they recast Patricia Arquette and it's an instant downgrade?
Yeah, it's
Her
Tuesday night.
Her name's Kristen.
Okay.
How do you not know that? It's your favorite movie.
What, me or Robert?
Robert, we already know yours is Nightmare 2010.
I was gonna say we're not gonna go against the bit here.
I've lost track of the thread. No, I'm not gonna get too far into this, but I've thought about like if I rebooted this series, kind of how would I handle some of the sequels? What would I condense? What would I pick? No, that's later. I'll do that during the remake. But one change I would do is I think Kristen from 3 and then Alice 4 and 5. I would just combine those into one character and just call her Alice. That's one of the early changes I'd make if you got to Dream Warriors and doing some of that stuff.
I think there's an argument to be made because they do show that like Alice takes on personality traits from Kristen when the powers transfer over. They kind of already do that.
Exactly, because we recast Kristen and kill her and replace her with Kristen 2.0 or 3.0.
And it's funny when you think about it because Kristen / Alice are in more movies, but everybody thinks of Nancy as like his final girl.
Yeah. I think Kristen would have stuck around more in the zeitgeist if it was actually Patricia Arquette in part 4.
Yeah, I wish she'd come back. She's really good in that movie.
Yeah, this is one of our big, like, classic Freddy moments.
And Heather Langenkamp kept that prop, by the way. You know, we were talking about earlier how the house kind of, for some reason, sticks around. They don't repeat a lot of the gags. We never do that phone bit again. They never do the Glenn sucking down through the portal.
No, this series, the big one we repeat, and it's deliberate, is Tina's death in New Night.
Yes.
And that's a very deliberate choice. And then you get to the remake, which does a whole lot of repeating.
Well, that's a little different because it is a remake.
Yeah, but in the mainline series, I agree. They're always
and fun fact, Robert, because it's going to be a while before we get there. The babysitter that gets the Nancy treatment or the Tina treatment, she's in the pilot of Angel. And the first time I rewatched Angel after having seen the Nightmare movies was like, I've seen this girl somewhere. Who the hell is it?
Here it is.
Mama! Okay, so I want I love this kill. I want somebody to explain to me what's happening in the real world.
What we're seeing.
But he can't affect the real world.
Except when he does. Remember in part 4 when he finds the guy in the bed underwater?
Yeah, because that was one of my favorite Freddy one-liners. How's this for a wet dream?
That's when they repeat in the remake. But yeah, the mom is watching this happen.
It's because the mom's also sleeping.
Okay.
Well, no, because we've established that they die in the real world. So like we saw Tina, she gets the scratches down her. How in the real world did a portal in the bed open up and suck Johnny Depp into it?
I don't know.
It's not a problem. It's funny.
It's okay.
Yeah, well, in the case of Tina's death, it's like, no, everything that's happening to her in the dream is happening to her in the real world. People in the real world just can't see Freddy. Yeah. But her spinning around the room and stuff, like, that's all literally happening. And in this, he literally turns into a geyser of blood. But yeah, I can't explain that. It's just observing it.
It's also weirdly brutal for that character.
Yeah. It happens so quick and it's so goofy. I don't know. It's great, but I'm not like, oh.
I mean, he was the better of the two male protagonists in this movie.
That's true. I'm also too desensitized by Terrifier movies to where with Glenn, I'm like, yeah, kind of easy. That was a relatively quick death.
Oh, I mean,
You don't know that.
That day, he turned into Fountain of Blood pretty quick. And like I said, or what I was alluding to earlier is, Freddy's not fucking with Glenn. Like he's not in his nightmares trying to drive him crazy. Like he just kills him to fuck with Nancy and to keep everybody distracted with that. Like he is again not saying you need an explanation, but like Nancy's clearly kind of his main target, who he's
No, I need an
fucking with
explanation.
and drawing out.
I demand.
Well, you
one
get one in the
right
remake.
now.
well, I mean, was Glenn's parents also involved with killing Freddy?
They don't
I
say.
think you have to assume that, but they don't say.
I would assume so. So it's like he was probably on his list of people to kill anyway.
Mhm. Or he was just killing him just to fuck with Nancy. I guess you could interpret it.
Yeah, but it's like two birds with one stone, I guess.
For sure.
Because like, why would Nancy matter specifically?
Because she just does. Don't question.
Because she's the protagonist.
What?
The protagonist.
Oh.
So now we're watching Home Alone.
Yay!
The better version.
Don't you love it?
Oh.
When you see like people criticize a movie and they're just like, it just turns into Home Alone at the end.
I don't know what I remember, and I still haven't seen this, but
Which, for
the
this movie is
Equalizer
funny.
movie.
Yeah. I'm not saying
I don't know
that
if anyone says that about this, but I've heard people say that about other.
No, I've heard that. But like with the Equalizer movie with Denzel Washington, I heard some people say, "Oh, the ending's silly. It's just Home Alone in a Home Depot," and I'm like, "That's fucking awesome. Like, you're selling me on it."
The thing I heard it for a lot was Halloween 2018, and I'm like, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. No, I think this stuff again. It's very. I think the climax of this movie is very silly, but again, that's not a problem. I think it's just fun. It's kind of where the movie stops being scary, but it's at least entertaining. But it's great for Nancy. Like it makes her stand out as a
Yeah.
final girl. I like that she gets into survival.
That's why
It's
she's
always
one of my
traps and
favorites.
Well, it also just be funny if people complain this was like Home Alone, considering this came out first.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
So if anything, Home Alone is
It's
like
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. I would pay to see Macaulay Culkin fight Freddy Krueger.
I should have made that movie. Or The Predator.
Well, yeah,
Or both.
how he'd beat him is he'd be like, I'm not afraid anymore.
The Predator go.
Go home, Freddy, you're drunk.
All these bottles. This one has. Yoink.
Pulls out a comically large flask from from her drawer. Drawer.
Yeah, who do you guys think? Which character is the bigger drunk? This mom or the lady in charge of the sorority house in Black Christmas?
Well, that's the problem. Is I've seen
Who
Black
does
Christmas
drink booze
once.
from a toilet? I should say.
Oh, See, this is the thing. I'm in desperate need of a rewatch of Black Christmas because I've seen it before, but it was one time in a voice chat where someone was talking the whole time, so I
Oh,
really don't remember anything about it.
that movie's great.
I
Yeah,
do
I
need
know.
to see it again. I watched it after that, but it's been a minute. It's on our wheel though.
Well, surely we'll save it for the Christmas season, though. If we spin on it, we won't do it next week.
It could happen. See,
Okay.
Figure it out.
We gotta review
yeah.
Christmas movies and during
Well,
Christmas.
that's true. We were also talking about doing Evil Dead 2 next week, but I mean, we can postpone
Yeah, we can do whatever.
So I actually had an idea on that because Robert hasn't seen House yet. We should do Evil Dead 2 and House.
Yes.
Okay, so
No.
let's say we'll do that next Friday, and whatever we spin will be either on a Thursday or the next time we.
Okay. What is the hidden meaning of the dogs playing poker or whatever rug on the wall?
I'm pretty sure it's. I was just petting him.
No. I don't want to think about that movie right now.
I love the boiler room. I know it comes back, but I wish we did more with it with this atmosphere.
Well, if I got the remake for you,
I said I don't want to think about that now.
When are we gonna put the remake out on Steelbook? Like, I want something of this quality release.
and I mean, we'll get to it, but it is technically the highest grossing film in the franchise. Which
Higher
pains
than
me
Freddy
to
versus
say,
Jason.
by like $1 million. I think it
Wow.
technically made more.
To be fair, they marketed that extremely well because I
They did.
remember I was really excited.
And Freddy
And it
versus
was
Jason,
not
I think,
indicative
caught
of
less.
the final product at all.
I think Freddy versus Jason was a technically more profitable movie. I think we can give it that. Because I think that costs less.
And it's tricky with these remakes because I don't trust critical reception of slasher movies.
It still blows my mind that part of the reason that Friday the 13th remake didn't get a sequel was because it got bad reviews. What did you expect?
Well, you mentioned this earlier, and I'm not going to say what you mentioned because I'm sure you'll bring it up when we watch the remake. I'm starting to wonder if anybody involved with those movies ever actually watched the originals.
It's a good question.
Yep.
Noah, did you see what I posted in our group chat
I saw,
earlier?
yes.
Okay. I'll bring it up during the remake.
I can't wait for you to bring it up. No, the thing about Friday is funny though. I didn't know that because obviously a Friday the 13th movie is not going to get glowing reviews from critics.
And honestly, that kind of pisses me off now because I think that is a pretty decent movie, and I wanted a sequel.
It's not
and
bad.
Also, and I don't know why it didn't make as much money as the Nightmare remake, and it probably was just marketing.
Didn't it?
No, it. I think if that movie crossed $100 million, that a sequel might have actually happened, but it fell short of $100 million. So you're like, just move on to the next one.
If there was a movie that you're banking on critical reception for making sequels to, it would have to be the Nightmare movie,
which also was panned.
But just because those movies are seen more as like critical darlings compared to Friday.
Which this fucking movie made? God damn,
I always
maybe it's 120 million.
Yep. I always forget this scene when Nancy finds like these little trinkets from Freddy's victims. They're all covered in blood.
I would say this is one of the best viewings I've had of this movie.
That's a lot of fun. This
This
movie
is
just
a great
broke
movie.
Yeah.
It's a great
your
movie
heart
up
out, Sonny.
until the last few
Funnily
minutes.
enough, the last time I watched this movie, I think it was the last time, was when the Discord that you joined a while ago, like I don't want to say Patreon Discord, but whatever that super
Mhm.
secret Discord is. That's like the first movie night that we ever did with me and one other guy, and we watched this and the remake.
That's
Oh, really?
full circle.
Yeah, it was me and Brian. That was the first like watch party we ever did.
It's all come full circle.
Then the very next one we did all four at the time Scream movies.
This part makes me laugh every time when Nancy says, "I'm crazy after all." It's like that quick. You don't see Freddy for 5 seconds, and you're like, "Oh, I am nuts."
No, what's funnier than that is the noise that he makes when he
jump scare.
jumps up.
Ah.
A pretty good jump scare, not as good as the mirror jump scare when he jumps through the mirror and grabs her. That shot's amazing.
I mean, nothing will beat the jump scare at the end of the remake.
God. And again, this starts getting very silly. And I hate these cops. I hate these.
We're gonna get to my favorite shot in the movie here in a minute. This is why Freddy in the real world sucks. He can't do anything.
It's so funny watching him get beat up. Like, it's very cathartic for the audience, but it is funny.
He's gonna start fake swearing like Joe Pesci in Home Alone.
I really love how they light him in this.
Oh yeah, it looks really cool.
He would look threatening with that lighting if he wasn't like falling over all over the place.
And these freaking cops, and okay, so I guess the built-in defense of the scene is, as I guess we'll find out at the end of this movie, I guess we're still in a dream. This is all a dream, I guess. And like that sucks. Like, I don't like that.
I don't
if
know.
That
this is my favorite shot in the movie because Freddy gains like 80 pounds.
It's good stunt. It's good fire stunt. The good old days when we actually set people on fire. We need to get back to that.
Hey, you psychopath.
Pro setting people on fire, Robert Wilde.
I mean, this is a good one, but nothing will beat the Jason on fire in Part 7 stunt.
Jason died by water. Freddy died by fire. How can we
use that? No, but I respect the hell out of that stunt because it was at the time the longest burn stunt, and it's a burn victim. I don't know if you know about that, Noah. Kane Hodder's like 70% of his body is covered in burns because of a failed stunt. Wow.
From which movie?
70 might be a...
That might be an exaggeration. No, this was before he... So, because I've read his biography, or his autobiography. He was doing like a report for a local news station and showing how stuntmen set themselves on fire, and it went wrong, and he almost died.
Oh, so not even on a movie set. Wow.
No. This is before he became a professional stuntman. And so when he did the fire stunt for Jason, that was the first one he'd done since burning himself. And it ended up being like the longest one at the time.
What a badass.
He also almost died at least 3 times making Friday 7. Because there's that other stunt where he falls backwards through the stairs.
Yeah.
And the back of his head hit like the last fake step. The step in front of that was a real step and could have fucking killed him if he missed his mark by an inch.
Okay. Like, what is happening here?
The mom's dying.
She's sinking into hell.
Oh my god, she's the crypt keeper. We should have seen it coming.
Yeah, this is actually a prequel to Tales from the Crypt.
I do love the effect though when it fades into like just the normal bed. Like I don't know what's happening, but it's a cool
This
effect.
can't be a dream because this actually happens. Wait, no. I guess that doesn't disprove it. I don't know what the fuck is happening.
Yeah. Well, I think the idea is how Freddy gets back in the dream world is through the mom, and what just happened is he just killed the mom. And he's now back in the dream.
No, that was my point. Is because if this is a dream, then she had to have died in the real world. Because if you die in the dream, you die in the real world. But then at the end, she's alive.
Which is clearly a dream. But then in part 3, they do confirm that the mom is dead.
Subject.exe has crashed.
Brain fart.
And then again, this is when the movie, like, the scene is cool when she turns her back on Freddy. I actually think it's a good moment for Nancy. But now I'm confused, like, because this is when it's like, wait, so we are still dreaming?
This is
or did she just?
Great shot.
I like this effect. Yeah. Did she fall asleep standing up? Like, this is when the movie's lost me, and I'm not sure what's happening. But I do like the scene. And Freddy looks a little different here. Like, he looks a little bit more like a demon. And they're doing more of the deeper voice. No, you don't. But to explain why the ending is such a mess, it's because in the original script, it was just supposed to end with, I guess, Nancy wakes up and goes to school, and maybe the whole movie was a dream. And you know what? That's kind of lame. Admittedly,
I've never heard
not
what
as
Wesley's original ending was. I just know this was the only compromise him and Bob Shea could come to, because Robert Shea wanted a sequel bait ending, and Wes was like, no, this is a one and done.
Mm-hmm. And I think Wes wanted a more optimistic ending. He didn't like Nancy being driven off, presumably, to her
And I can respect both of those, but what they settled on is nonsense.
Well, what they settled on was putting like all 3 versions they shot into one. So there's one ending where it's just this, and Nancy drives off with her friends, and I guess the whole movie was a dream. Oh, well, that kind of sucks. The other one they shot is she gets in the car, and holy shit, Freddy's the driver, and then drives off with them screaming. And that's the first one they discarded, but they still kept like pieces of it. And then the compromise was, okay, we don't literally see Freddy, but we see like the hood of the car, like we see his stripes. And then I think the last
Freddy
one
is
they added,
the car.
Yeah, Freddy is the car. And then the last one they added was the mom getting pulled through the door. So basically everything they shot, they just kind of mishmash together. And like, it's fun. I just don't know what's happening. And as we see, the mom turns into a blow-up doll and gets sucked through the window.
Yeah, when I first saw this, I was like, what the fuck?
It is memorable. I'll give it that. And I will say, as much as I love making fun of it, it doesn't ruin the movie for me. It's just unfortunate that the movie ends on the worst special effect. Like, our final shot is the worst special effect in the movie.
That's supposed to be like
but it does make me laugh.
A gut punch moment, like, oh shit.
And
but really, it just makes you laugh.
If there's one thing you can give Friday the 13th over this, is that zombie Jason jump scare is 10 times better.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, and I always say that this movie is a great movie with a shitty ending. And then Friday is a shitty movie with a great ending.
And I think... But I also think why this ending doesn't piss me off, I'm just confused, is because, we at least get part 3. Like, we get other good stuff after, so I'm kind of whatever. But, like, again, it doesn't ruin the movie for me. Like, I'm not mad about it. I just think, like on my first viewing, I was like, oh, that ending kind of sucked. But I can laugh at it now. It's not a big deal. But it's
a nightmare.
And it's nightmare. And then the remake, will also end with the shitty special effects. With
Yay.
the mom getting killed. But oh no, did I show my hand too early?
Yeah.
Oh, do you
shut
not
the
like the
fuck up.
remake?
Anyway, well, folks, that was the original coming in at a clean 1 hour 30.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a quick. I don't know how long do you guys need.
At least 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
We're gonna take a
We'll
quick
take 5.
5 or so minutes. We will be back with the remake.
Yeah.
Stay tuned,
Oh,
folks.
All right. BRB. I just realized I have to go. I have a thing. I have to do anything but watch the Friday or the Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
How dare you?
Oh God.
You are as bad as Freddy in this movie. Worse,
Oh no.
arguably.
Worse? Oh, in this movie? Oh no.
The dishonesty is the worst part. Let's be real.
Well, you know, the worst part about Freddy Krueger is the hypocrisy. Yeah, New Line Cinema has $3.99 from me now.
Yeah.
Because this movie isn't streaming anywhere for some reason.
Don't
So
you
that's
love it
great.
don't you love it when horror movies aren't streaming in October? Isn't
Yeah.
that the best?
The things I do for this channel.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, the next thing we're doing is Psycho 1998. So that should make up for it.
Oh, I should check.
You also
If
might
I
need
have
to
to rent that, yeah.
I don't think it's on Peacock.
Oh no. It might be actually, but I don't have Peacock.
Oh, okay.
So either way. Psycho, what? Come on. Oh, you're right, it's not. Damn. Whatever.
It's for the channel.
Exactly, it's for the content. That sweet, sweet content.
I just bought this New Line Cinema Blu-ray 3-pack, which I could justify as being cool with owning a second copy of Freddy vs. Jason and the remake.
Yeah.
Though that would make for a very strange triple feature.
Yeah, I guess that's only a triple feature because those movies came out relatively close to each other, or at least those were.
Except Jason X doesn't make the cut.
Oh yeah. I just realized though, Psycho counts for this, right? For the
it does, but
remake.
we talked about that because that sounded so miserable to do those back to back in one night.
Oh, right.
That I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make Psycho my '90s pick. So lump it in with that. We'll do more on the Psycho franchise in the future, but we're gonna go ahead and check this off because this is my '90s pick.
Yeah, I want to watch the sequels. I've never seen them.
The two's great.
Yeah, and Anthony Perkins directed
3.
3? Okay.
3 is a mixed bag, but it's elevated by his style. It's got great visuals. It's definitely elevated by his direction, and it's very campy and weird. That's like when you think of like campy, weird, horny, violent '80s movies. Psycho 3.
Psycho 3.
Yeah, it's in that conversation.
No, yeah, because for the longest time I had no idea that movie had any sequels. I think until like
me too.
I think the first time I ever found that out was the Red Letter Media review of the series, and I was like, wait a minute, there's sequels to Psycho? Because I only knew about the original and the remake, because the remake's infamous.
Yeah. And we're back.
We're back.
I'm glad neither of you were paying attention to the chat.
Why? What happened in the chat?
What happened in the chat?
Because I was listening and I said in the chat, "Shut up, Noah."
I saw that. I just chose not to respond.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see.
Gotcha. You could have told me to shut up here.
I wasn't here.
Could have yelled.
Wait a minute. That's not Jackie Earl Haley.
What are you talking about?
On the YouTube.
Is it delayed?
Oh, there it is.
I was just saying, what are you talking
there
about?
We still had Robert Englund for a second.
Oh yeah. No, because I couldn't change it while I was on the BRB screen. I had to change it back.
And yeah, pull out your copy of Nightmare on Elm Street 2010, and
What
all
is he even,
two of you who have it.
including Robert?
Yeah,
What is he even doing on that poster? Is he praying?
he's looking sinister.
He's just
Yeah.
brooding.
It's just standing there.
He does a lot of in this movie.
Freddy doesn't brood, he quips.
No, so I mean spoilers, but that's a huge issue with this movie. Is it can't decide which Freddy it wants.
But even the scary Freddy doesn't really brood. It's not Batman.
But no, it looks cool on a poster, okay?
I'm nitpicking the poster. I don't know why I'm being so critical of a movie I love, but I'm just...
Well, it shows you're not biased. You know, you're not a fan. Yeah. You're an objective reviewer here. To explain the hidden genius of this film.
It's a challenge I'm willing to accept tonight, to try to find something wrong with my favorite movie.
I respect that.
Yeah, but like I said earlier, unfortunately, this movie's not streaming. So if you have a copy, take it out. But if you're after rent it like me, then I'm sorry.
Why are you apologizing for giving money to your favorite movie?
It's not to my favorite movie. It's to David Zaslav, right?
I'm shocked you don't have a custom Laserdisc and VHS of this, honestly.
Yeah, are you
like you got on this in every format?
Would this wouldn't even come out?
That's why I said custom.
Laserdisc. But why would I want to watch a movie I love in worse quality?
You're saying they shouldn't bring back an outdated format?
Apparently VHS is making a comeback with Alien Romulus and some other stuff. Couldn't have predicted that, but here we are.
All right.
That's not the first one to do that.
All right. We are on the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Everybody gets a timestamp 0. Is everybody on timestamp 0? And Robert, I swear to God, if you say I'm not ready on the count of 1, I'm kicking you.
I'm not ready on the count of 1.
Okay. In 3.
It's amazing.
3, 2, 1, play.
I remember this New Line Cinema logo.
This is my favorite New Line Cinema logo. Although
I grew up with this one.
Yeah. They do a version of this. I don't remember if it's on one of the Nightmare movies or what, but where the lighting is red. Welcome back, Teddy. We're doing Noah's favorite Nightmare movie.
This is my favorite movie of all time.
Mm-hmm. I think you're thinking of Freddy versus Jason.
Maybe. I thought you tried to watch that this month, but I don't know if I have time. Yeah, I saw this in theaters. I was super hyped.
What was your initial reaction to this? Can you put yourself back in that headspace?
What the fuck am I watching?
No,
because it's interesting because I hated the Friday remake too at the time because I'd only seen the zombie Jason. I was like, this is a Jason? Like, what the fuck? And that's a movie I came around on much later. This is a movie that I never came around to.
Because it sucks.
Friday remake has kind of been just generally reappraised.
It's been recalled by the fans.
This
also,
has not.
I completely forgot that Clancy Brown was in this. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to.
He is a highlight.
Eddie, oh no, not this one. Why must I come back to the bad place?
Can I complain about these opening credits?
Go for it.
Yes.
It's like they shot something kind of stylish and kind of cool with like the names written in chalk. And then some studio bigwig said, people are going to have difficulty reading that. So just put regular credit text over it and let's chop it up real quick.
Yeah, and we
I
should
don't
That
like
mention
does
the
sound like a
credits.
studio move.
this movie wasn't just a failure. I mean, it made money. It killed the entire Platinum Dune remake momentum.
It did. This was the last one, the last big one. It feels like.
And it's weird because I didn't think about it, but as I've gotten older, it's like, yeah, I lived through the entire Platinum Dunes like remake onslaught.
Yeah, Texas Chainsaw really kicks it off in 03, and then this is kind of the last one.
And they got almost all the big ones. The only ones they didn't get was Halloween.
That's true. And of like the big four slasher remakes, you know, that obviously, like you said, Halloween's not Platinum Dunes, but still, Texas Chainsaw, Halloween, Friday the 13th, and this one, I think this is the worst of them. I much
It's
prefer
easily the
those
worst
other
of them.
three.
Even if you don't like Rob Zombie's Halloween, it's better than this.
I think so.
I like how this is lit though. This might be my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah, I still have many issues with how we start this thing. I just watched this for the first time yesterday. So very
I
fresh.
kind of wish
You
you
hadn't
just
seen
watched
this
this today so we could have gotten your blind
No,
reaction.
I wanted my own because I thought there was that chance that maybe I'm going to be the guy who kind of likes this movie. This movie has its defenders,
Spoiler
believe it or
alert.
not.
No, I know.
I didn't
wanted
know
it.
I didn't know you'd never seen this until recently.
And also, like, I knew a lot of the twists. I knew the ending. Like, there wasn't much for me to react to. Like, I already
just
knew
because
what
you
happened.
kept going on about the shitty CGI, so I thought you'd seen it. Teddy says Evil Dead had a great remake. It did have a great remake, but we're just talking about the slasher remakes.
Yeah. That one weirdly comes kind of late. Like, that's an exception, not the rule. Because that's 2013, when we've kind of mostly moved on to other stuff. Yeah. But this scene to me is like, remember Saw? We want this to kind of look like Saw. Yeah, because you got like the dead pigs and stuff.
Pigs. Yeah, that kind of imagery. Oh my god.
So you were just complimenting the lighting, and I agree. The problem is this has the same sheen and look to it as almost every Platinum Dunes remake. Mm-hmm. The difference between something like this and Friday the 13th is Friday the 13th is remaking movies that were mostly kind of flat and basic and cheap. Nightmare is something that always had a style to it, and to me, you're taking away from the style. I get that it's a remake; it has to do its own thing, but this just looks very kind of bland and generic to me, and loses a lot of the personality of this franchise.
Well, I mean, this is a movie with no personality, but on terms of this movie, this is probably the most I like the way this movie looks and is shot.
That's the one positive you can say about it.
This opening kill is the best kill in the movie, which isn't a huge compliment. Also, I think this guy's a very bad actor.
Petty, in terms of slasher remakes, I like Friday the 13th, Texas Halloween. The first Rob Zombie had its moments. I'm not a Rob Zombie guy. Yeah, and I really like the Rob Zombie one. It's the only one that I can't compare it to is the Texas one because I haven't seen that one in so long.
We'll get to it.
Yeah.
And with Rob Zombie's Halloween, whether you like it or not, that at least has its own distinct style. That is a Rob Zombie looking movie.
I should put Halloween on here.
No.
For sure.
Oh.
So this opening
Halloween 2 to separate it.
What do you mean?
Halloween and Halloween 2, because there's a remake of Halloween 2.
But is that a remake of Halloween 2, or is it just a sequel to that?
It kind of is. Okay, let's add that to this. This could be a year from now. Let's plan on adding that to the wheel when we cover the remake of Halloween 1. Okay. And the original.
So we'll do
that.
Yeah,
I want to do that first.
Yeah, that's true.
So this opening to me is kind of a mess. We're throwing all these characters at you.
It's the Flash.
And it is it's Impulse, John.
Oh, that's
you
true.
Fake Smallville fan.
Yeah, no, that's Impulse from Smallville.
That means nothing to me right now.
It's Kyle Gallner. He's a good actor. He's one of the better actors in this movie.
fuck like this era, because between this and Jennifer's Body, I was convinced for years that he's just not a good actor.
No, he's been in a ton of like critical darling stuff like recently, or like little indie movies that people are like, these are great. Like he's awesome.
He's in that new, what is the name of that movie that just came out? Everybody's loving.
Strange Darling.
Yeah, I want to see that.
I haven't seen that yet. But
and
so in
God
the first
I'd seen
movie,
The Social Network before I saw at some point, because I also would have been convinced this lady can't act.
Oh, it's that, yeah.
Rooney Mara. Yeah, this movie almost made her quit acting. She had that miserable of an experience on it, and I think she's pretty bad at it.
And I already knew
she's
Katie
not
Cassidy
great.
was.
And I think Katie Cassidy. I like Katie Cassidy more than Rooney Mara in this.
No, Rooney Mara is better in the 2 scenes that she's in The Social Network.
So we mentioned this a little bit earlier. No, I'm with you. I think the biggest problem with this movie is that I end up liking the fake protagonist, who is Katie Cassidy, more than the actual protagonist.
And again, that's one of my issues with this opening is it can't pick a fake protagonist. It starts with this guy and then moves to Cal Gallner and Rooney Mara, and now it's her kind of, and then it's going to be her for like 15 minutes, and then it's such a mess.
Well,
it's
they're sticking to the structure of the original. Is he supposed to be
really.
Rod? Because
he's
kind of Rod later when she
there's
dies.
another guy who's kind of Rod. No, this guy's just like an extra fake out protagonist.
They're trying to do the first one again, but they can't even do that well because they introduced Nancy before they introduced this character.
Yes. And like I said, I hope this guy's a nice guy. I hope he's gotten better work. I think this guy's very bad.
Is this Kellen Lutz?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
One of you want to fact check that?
God, I hate the filter we do on some of these Freddy scenes.
What's the character's name?
I've got the page up. Okay.
No, I will admit though, this looks cool.
I got this. You're right.
That is Kellen Lutz.
So I mean, I guess it's any consolation. He went on to be in Twilight, or he was in the Twilight films.
Oh, he also played Hercules in The Legend of Hercules.
At least the Twilight movies made money.
Yeah, he got work.
And here's another funeral scene.
Hercules.
Yep.
No, it was also weird the way that's shot because it looks like he slits his own neck, but he's trying to stop Freddy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how that works.
I think on paper I like that for your opening kill, where again Freddy's kind of staging it as a suicide to drive these people crazy and think the guy killed himself. I don't think it's executed super well.
Man, between this and Arrow, Katie Cassidy just deserves such a better career.
I think she's a fine actress.
She is too good for the CW.
I like her fine in that Black Christmas remake.
Yeah, I don't think she's quite like Jensen Ackles level, where I could see him being in like bigger movies or streaming like quality maybe HBO shows or something. But like I think she'd be a good network actress.
I think she's a fine actress. Noah, thoughts? You haven't talked much. This is your favorite movie.
I think she delivers a fantastic performance in this movie. I really think she should have been nominated for an Oscar. So that's my thoughts.
And then so the thing that baffles me the most, because if we're doing like the 1-to-1, like this is Nancy, who is the only one they don't change the name of.
They do change the last name.
Yes.
For some reason.
So Kyle Gallner is clearly Glenn, but it's not Glenn in any particular way.
No. Yeah, and then Nancy also just doesn't have a father in this. So Clancy Brown's like kind of the John Saxon character, but he's Quentin's father. You can't get too hung up on it because they're trying to.
No, they should have just
done it's different.
They should have just done what they did with Friday, where you take pieces from like a certain amount of movies and make a narrative. This thinks it's trying to do what Wes Craven originally wanted to do with the original, but it doesn't understand what Wes Craven actually did with the original.
Right. Also, what's funny in the same, even at a funeral, it's important to dress good. She, so this guy is kind of as you'll see later.
He looks like a douchebag.
He does. He has that
That-
2000s hair.
That's the other thing with a lot of these is in the 80s it was just like no names, like probably one-off actors. For these, they all went to like CW actors.
And Rooney Mara, who I guess was a no-name at this point. Well, I think this might have been the same year as The Social Network.
What
Yeah.
year is The Social Network? 2010?
I think
It's either
2010.
2010 or 2011.
Yeah, because I know it's before Amazing Spider-Man, because that's the first thing I see Andrew Garfield in.
Yeah, well, and then was Girl with the Dragon Tattoo 2011? So then the Social Network might have been.
Yeah, that was 2011. Yeah.
So, aren't you invested in these characters already? How we're just speeding
I
through?
don't even know what Not
It's
Tina's
interesting.
name is supposed to be.
It's Chris. I only know this because I watched this yesterday.
Is Nancy the only character that has the same name as the original?
Yes,
Yeah,
but like
even
I
then
said, they
changed
still
her
change your last name.
Yeah, okay.
It's really weird.
Pick a lane.
So remember that
fall
really
asleep.
shitty effect in the first movie where it's like Freddy coming through the paper wall, and
Oh, that
can't you imagine how
sucked.
CGI would make
Yeah.
that so much better?
Yeah, it
Let's
almost
see if
took
they
me
can
out of
top
the
it.
movie.
Oh, that looks like The Haunting.
Oh my god, it does.
Yeah,
Aren't you
like,
scared?
So
why is he
spooky.
so over the top? Like the claws are sticking out of the wall, and
Yeah. This is why I don't understand. Again, because this movie has defenders, and I want to be kind of nice. Is people say, well, they wanted to make a more serious movie. It's not campy like the original. This is actually scary.
Yeah, Robert.
Again, it's subjective. I think the first movie's scarier. Even if
I
it's
just don't know how
goofy.
you can look at that CGI glob and go,
Oh no, it's
my
scary.
God."
Well, it's newer, so it's better.
Newer's better. What do you mean, Mom? She looks like 5 years older than you.
Hey, older
Okay,
sister.
but she kind of unironically looks like the mom from the original.
Yeah. So there's a lot to unpack here. I don't know where to start, but the other defense people go to who say, well, to be fair, Freddy was originally meant to be a pedophile in the script in the original. That was just an element they ended up downplaying or taking out and say, oh no, he's just a child killer. So this movie's trying to be more serious and scarier and going with that. Okay. Even if I thought they pulled it off, it's still a silly movie about a guy who kills you in your dreams. It's still a goofy premise no matter how straight you play it.
Yeah.
Right.
Also,
So
if you're going to make him a child predator, don't try to make him sympathetic as well. Like double down on him being a piece of shit.
So I have always been vehemently against that because at the end of the day, the slasher is what you're supposed to be rooting for. And I don't know about Noah, but I don't want to root for a pedophile.
I don't want to root for that either.
Exactly
what I was saying.
That, because I mean, I can only speak for myself, but every slasher fan I've met is the same. It's like we watch these for the slasher, for Freddy or Jason. Like, it feels gross when you see this, but if you have to do that, then yeah, like he said, double down on it, or just follow through with the idea that they lied.
It's so much more interesting.
Because that's my frustration overall, mostly with the sequel. I think is there will be really cool ideas, like maybe they made it up to get out of trouble or whatever, and those like micro naps or whatever that they introduce, and then it's like, never mind. That's too cool for us to do.
Well, I
And
think the common thread with this movie is that they had too many like conflicting ideas and they kind of just mashed it together because they want to make it different from the original, but then they also
Also,
want to keep some
cast
stuff.
Katie Cassidy as Nancy. This movie is 10 times better.
I agree. I don't know about 10 times, but it's
Maybe like twice as better.
but and
Slightly better.
to make a hypothetical counter argument to what you said, it's if the idea of this movie is, well, no, we want to make Freddy scary again. We don't want the audience to be rooting for him. We want the audience to be scared of him. The guy who plays Not Rod on the special features is like, oh, Freddy's so cool because you kind of root for him and he's fun to watch. It's like, are you talking about the movie you're making when he's a pedophile? Like, do you know what movie you're talking about?
My counter argument would be, this is the 9th movie in the franchise. Freddy is dark and scary in at least 2 of them, and we still root for him.
Mm.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. You can't
Put
do
the cookie
that.
down.
No, I mean,
these are the most uncharismatic best friends I've ever seen.
Well, they're not best friends. They're like just getting to know each other, and they're both supposed to be socially awkward, but it's not endearing.
It's just awkward.
No. She'll have a line later when she says, "I don't know if you noticed, but I don't make friends easily. I'm kind of antisocial or whatever." And it's like, okay, we never see her getting picked on. We never see her not fitting in. She just tells us that she doesn't fit in. And you're supposed to just go with it.
Don't you love
For some
it when
reason, I thought they were
tells
best
you
friends.
things?
But the last time I watched this, I watched it with no one. It was really distracting how just like excited he was for everything that was happening.
I was really into this movie. I'm really invested watching it again now.
And I remember going into this, at least, admittedly, some of this is on like 13-year-old memories now, 14-year-old memories. This is where the movie lost me the first time. This is where you first fully see Freddy. And I was like, oh no.
And God, I mean, I'm gonna be nitpicking so much throughout this, but we're about to see a very bad CGI transition with all these people disappearing, and we're gonna, and then Freddy is just standing there. Build up, suspense. Like maybe we're hearing the chalk in the background get louder and louder, and then the chalk slowly fades to a screeching sound, and then we look up and now it's Freddy in front of the chalkboard, like slowly carving something. Milk it, like be scary, movie. And it's not.
Why would you do that when you can just do a loud boom?
Yeah, and again, we talked over one earlier, but there's so many fucking jump scares in this movie. Like, I have so many issues with the filmmaking where when people are like, well, it's dark, it's serious, it's scary again. I'm like, I don't think it's scary. It's just stupid jump scares.
No, like, how am I supposed to take this seriously? He looks
like a cat. And yeah, I agree. I don't like the Freddy makeup at all. He looks like a cat. He's not scary.
So, real quick, I was telling my buddy this the other day. Have you watched the Red Letter? You've watched the Red Letter media commentary on the original. Do you remember the bit where Jay went out to audition to be an extra in this movie?
Yes.
Jackie Earle Haley said, that's one of the worst movies that I've ever seen, speaking of the original. Really love when we hire people that don't like the source material to be in these things. Because he's just doing his Rorschach.
He is. And to be fair, that's what he's hired for. Like, this happens because of a fan campaign. Because a lot of people online were like, Jackie Earle Haley would be awesome as Rorschach. And that's the thing Hollywood listened to and said, oh yeah, let's cast him. Like,
you mean awesome
that's
as
Rorschach?
Freddy?
Yeah, Rorschach is why he gets cast as Freddy.
I don't see it at all.
Fan casting shouldn't happen. And I don't.
And to be fair,
he would be.
I don't think he's bad in this.
I don't think he's bad. I just don't.
Yeah,
I don't see why he would be good for Freddy just based on Watchmen. I don't get anything from that.
No, if you cut out the couple of stupid jokes that he has, because he doesn't know how to deliver them, and used real makeup instead of that shitty CG, he'd be an alright Freddy. Like the scene that I'm using for our kind of like wallpaper, where it's like he's looking down and you can just see like the bottom half of his face. It looks alright. It's not terrible.
Do you want to catch up on the live chat because we got quite a few comments?
Oh shit.
Oh, okay.
Jarmella rebranding can be difficult. They were trying to reinvent old Freddy. Yeah, it's all the MTV era of slasher horror. I mean, that's the original. Jarmella says it's a good movie, just not the same. That's fair. The hot take at this point, I want full-blown remakes more than the whole legacy sequel thing or requel. Jarmella, yeah, the thing was disappointing. The thing was disappointing. Teddy, yes.
Technically a prequel, but it's also...
At this point, I'm tired of the half-assed remake where we just pretend it's a sequel to the original. Just, if you're going to do it, bring it back as a full-on remake.
No soft reboots.
I'm tired of it.
I'd like to see them do another full-on remake of Friday. Just like reboot that from the ground up.
I want another reboot too. For me, it depends on the property. It just depends on the movie. Like, I like Halloween 2018 a lot. Most of these legacy sequels have been, or requels, whatever you want to call them, have been very bad. So I understand.
It's like the only good one.
I get it if you're sick of the trend. And to be fair, we've been doing this since the 80s with Godzilla. It just became like a trend in the last few years where we had a ton of them. So I understand if you're sick of the trend. I think on paper, I'll prefer a soft reboot legacy sequel over a remake, but in execution, I mean, both have had, there's been many bad examples.
It depends on the franchise.
And it depends on the franchise.
I wouldn't want it with bringing back like Heather Langenkamp or anything.
I agree.
For this franchise, just because I like how that turned out with
The problem, Robert, is like you said, we have been doing it since Godzilla, but almost all of these horror requels, as the term has been so irritatingly coined, is they don't have anything to say or do. It's just, well, Sidney Prescott's back.
Yeah, most of them are just, it's kind of a remake, but look, the old person's back. And Heather Langenkamp has said like, oh, she'd like to do another one of these and fight Freddy again. I think that time's passed. I think they're too old.
Passed.
That's just
I'm
what
fine
I want to
with
see.
Another full-on reboot.
Retirement home Nancy Thompson versus dead Freddy Krueger.
Elderly Freddy Krueger.
No, just reboot. These and the other thing is these movies aren't like Godzilla where you can just go back to that first one and start over. Because Godzilla is just a bunch of people in suits. You're going to notice if somebody different is playing Freddy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like I said, it depends on the property.
Also, welcome in, Jarmella. Sorry that I missed your chats for a minute. I was busy hating this movie.
By the way,
you're not riveted by this drama?
Oh, it's so riveting, guys. Why don't you guys like this movie? I'm a big fan.
But no, this one, I want them to remake this so badly again and do it right. I can't have the Nightmare movies end on this.
No. I never actually heard the term requel until Scream 5.
I haven't either, and that's why I hate it, because I find the dialogue in that movie insufferable. Not as bad as 6, but...
That's part of it. I also just think soft reboot sounds better. Like requel just
that's I
requel just sounds like annoying young people slang.
Yeah.
But
Teddy, Damien Leone making a Nightmare movie. Thoughts?
I want to be my first choice, but I want to be upset.
As a director, yes. Don't let him write it. I haven't seen Terrifier 3 yet, but I want like a real writer.
I can kind of see why you would go for him, just because the kills in Terrifier get pretty creative, and that's kind of what Nightmare is all about.
But like one of my favorite horror remakes, soft reboots of the last few years has been Hellraiser, which is just a complete, we're starting over our franchise's dog shit.
Can we though come to a middle ground of what we're asking for is real legitimate reboots, not just doing the first movie again?
Oh no.
Whether you're talking about remakes or these soft reboots, it's like, yeah, they're just remaking. They're doing the same thing over and
This
over
line
again.
annoys me. This is the one I always go to because I can hear Robert Englund like delivering that line and it's funny, but just hear Jack here and Haley go, "I was just petting him."
I was petting him.
Is he supposed to be scary in that scene? Is he supposed to be funny? He's neither.
Rorschach's journal. I was just pet a dog, and it was good.
Rorschach's journal. I was just petting him. I don't know why I talk like this.
Did you guys see Batman? I'm trying to do a Batman.
Hey, remember the little girls from the original?
Yep.
Now there's a lot of them.
More. I also don't know if this nursery rhyme even makes sense in the context of this movie. Because they don't explain it.
Like he has more build up in this like micro scene than he did before.
And look, shitty editing.
Oh.
Again, there's a lot of just bad editing in this movie.
Robert, if there's one thing you have to give this movie though, is it doesn't have that overblown lighting from this era, like Repo or other movies.
No, or Scream 4.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that. But again, to me, it's just kind of.
Oh yeah.
Yep, this is a.
Teddy, honestly though, what I really want is someone taking a franchise and actually doing something with instead of happening. So the biggest thing that I have complained about for a long time is the only people that want to work on these projects are people that aren't actually fans, and they just want to use it to propel whatever they want to talk about. And normally it just leads to something that's preaching at you or just doesn't understand what people are there for. And this isn't a horror movie, but Robert and I reviewed this with another channel. The reason that I loved Deadpool and Wolverine so much is it is just a Deadpool and Wolverine movie. It is not preaching at you. It doesn't hate the material. It's just a fun time at the movies.
And again, it's all about balance. Like I don't want the same movie, over and over again. I want somebody's unique take. But like you said, I want somebody who actually cares about the franchise and has a unique spin on it. But you also don't want a Black Christmas 2019 situation where that's a very different movie from the original and not for the better. Where that's a very preachy movie.
I don't even mind just doing a straight on like Halloween 2018 if the actors are young enough and you can still get a good idea out of it, and it's not just watching old people pretend to try to struggle. We're too late for that like soft reboot trend by like 10 years. 10 years ago, it would have been awesome to see all these people come back.
Tina's death was so much better than the original, and in my opinion, a lot more visceral and effective, and just cool.
This is lift her up, and then he slashes her.
Yeah, they just
fling her across,
around the room,
flinging her around the room, and like, what is happening? Because you haven't really seen much of Freddy yet.
Yeah, this death's really lackluster. It feels like this one. And maybe why this did better than Friday the 13th is like Friday the 13th, that remake is a hard R movie. And a lot of people didn't appreciate that at the time. This feels like an R-rated movie that wants to be PG-13.
Yeah, and I think people finally understand what like the Friday movie was trying to do.
Mm-hmm. And after disappointments like the Friday 13th remake is why you get that wave of PG-13 horror that, dominated the early 2010s.
Teddy, oh, by the way, did you hear Mike Flanagan is doing a Carrie TV? So yes, and apparently I'm the only one that is excited for it. I don't know.
I'm excited.
I'm curious about it.
I'm yeah.
Now, the overall reaction has been very but I'm like, fuck them, just give it to me.
Well, because I don't think Carrie's never been adapted as a miniseries before, so it's just interesting to see.
Guys, isn't Rooney Mara like really acting her heart out here?
I can't deal with the like fake hipster thing that they have going on with her. Like,
but
that
she's an outcast.
Stupid.
She doesn't belong.
Tennis is all I'm excited for it. I think it could end up being kind of a reinvention like his Hill House miniseries. Because I don't see how you get an 8-hour miniseries out of that little ass book.
I was gonna ask though if you wanted like the most authentic adaptation of that book, or if you're fine with him going in his own direction with it.
I'm
Like he did
fine
with
with it
Hill
because we've got this is the 4th adaptation of Carrie, which to be fair to those that are more mad on it, I get it. This is the 4th one.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we also don't have a truly like honest to God adaptation because all of them strip out the 2 films strip out the like the narrative structure of that book, which is they're interrogating people about what happened. The Carrie the remake tried to do that, but then they were forced to cut all of it, so it's just the De Palma film again.
And oh no, not Rod has been arrested.
So like he's like no connection with anything because he doesn't have a family member on the force.
Yep.
So he's like it's not Rod, but at the same time, like kind of different from Rod. Like,
I mean, that's every character in this movie.
He's the one that's telling Nancy about like the rules, like don't fall asleep, you die in your dreams, you die for real.
Teddy, it's mostly because of Mike Flanagan. If it was anyone else, I'd be like, eh. They're like, yeah, I mean, that's part of it. It's just like, I will watch anything that dude creates.
And we know Mike Flanagan likes to do non-linear stuff, so I could see him actually using that structure from the book. That
Imagine
framework.
if we get something like Hill House episode, what is it, 8?
Yeah.
The one-shot episode.
Well, that's the one, 4, I think.
The one where we find out who the bent neck lady is.
I think that's 5. Oh. God, I don't remember how many episodes that was now.
That's the one right before the one I'm thinking of. Yeah.
I have questions. So remember how in the first movie, like the guy had a knife, and that's kind of a big part of the plot. This goes straight from this guy ran out of this dead girl's house, says he didn't do it, and now he's just in prison.
Yeah,
I have questions.
Like, that's not a jail cell. That's a prison cell.
Yeah, like I'm not alone in this, right? And there's not a murder weapon. There's no discussion of murder weapon. He says he didn't do it, and they just put him in prison.
Teddy, I wonder who he'll get to play Carrie. I've seen so I did see something about it should be the girl from Hereditary. I don't know what she looks like now, but that would be cool.
Oh, that's not bad.
I've also seen some weird fan castings. Like, what if they got Sadie Sink? I'm like, what?
She's a great actress, but you need to cast someone believable as an outcast. That was the biggest problem with Chloe Moretz.
Not Chloe Grace
thing with all of them, because even to me, even the De Palma one has this. Is none of them look like Carrie should.
Right.
In the book, Carrie is described as really awkward, kind of pudgy, very old-fashioned. None of the movies get this right because we have to cast somebody who's conventionally attractive.
Well, at least Sissy Spacek, though, I think they do convincingly make her look odd and stand out, and like, oh yeah, I buy it.
I mean, she's probably the best of them, but you could. I still think you can do better.
That's right. Do you guys like this not Google scene that's aged this movie wonderfully?
Yeah.
Oh my god, he's watching the Ring video.
Like this from this era. My favorite is when Peter Parker and the Amazing Spider-Man can only use Bing.
He uses Bing. That's the best.
And I mean, I like that movie. It's just funny.
No, yeah, it's funny.
It's not as bad as and nobody talks about it. I think it's the Spider-Verse movies where like everything Miles owns is a Sony product.
Yes.
Is it that?
Well, that's every Sony. That's every Sony.
That's every Sony movie. I think that's the Amazing movies as well.
This scene's frustrating because it's like, is this library going to turn into like a maze where it's just endless aisles of bookshelves? This could be kind of cool. It's like you're almost there with the art direction movie, and then no, Freddy's there.
Robert, I really wish, even if we hadn't done this blind, that I had been there with you to watch this because I wanted to hear.
There's a lot of yelling at the TV.
Yeah, they're not fully realizing the potential. I guess you could. Oh my god, the way he turns
that
around.
effect. This is wrong. Like again, trying to not be mean. If you like this movie, fine. But when people say no, it's dark, it's serious, it's scary, I'm like, not when shit like that happens. Like that horrible effect of the spin
Those
around.
yellow
so
eyes. No,
Those
that
horrible
legitimately
yellow eyes.
reminds me of, and it's funny because there's just like a 7-year difference. It reminds me of the stupid Pennywise thing when he starts running across the basement.
That's better, but still.
You're not supposed to take that seriously. Like, it's a goofy clown.
Right. Yeah.
Come and play with the clown.
I'm so let down by the production design of this movie because we've all had dreams like that where they're very stressful. Like you're in like these corridors, you can't go anywhere, you can't get out. Like do something with that, and then oh no, Freddy's just. Or here now it's like
they're not fully realizing their potential.
I hope you like this boiler room because we go here a lot. It's like, oh, we're just here now again. Okay.
And we kind of talked about this with the first one, like, but the first one also didn't go like full into the dream stuff as they could have.
That's a budget thing before it's a creativity thing.
Yeah.
That's a budget thing. Also, at this point, we've had a bunch of movies in between. You could have topped the sequels, with some of this.
This is the 9th Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Yeah.
If you count Freddy versus Jason.
And we're not doing really anything with the dream stuff. There's an idea presented later that has potential, but they don't really do anything with it.
I like this boiler room set.
Yeah, it's a fine set.
Sure looks like a boiler room.
You get a couple cool silhouette shots of Freddy. And I know we've been ragging on this movie a lot. I do want to say, I've seen worse remakes. I have seen movies that have pissed me off more than this. Like, this isn't in my bottom 10 or whatever. I just don't think it's good. I do think it's the worst Nightmare movie. But I also didn't grow up with this franchise. So I also want to be clear, it's not like, oh, you're just nostalgic. Like, no, I don't grow up on these movies. I don't have, like, that childhood attachment to the original. I just think it's a better movie than this.
Kyle, do we count Freddy versus Jason?
I do. I think
it's better than some of the Nightmare movies.
Well, and if you count New Nightmare, you have to then you're being silly. But and scenes like this again, I think Jack Hero
fake badass dialogue. Why are you screaming? I haven't even cut you yet.
Yeah. Again, I think his performance is fine. He just doesn't get to do anything. Like he's always just standing there and walking slowly. Like there's very little physicality to his performance.
He's standing there menacingly.
We also talked over when he's like, "Oh God," and then Freddy's like, "No, just me." Like that's supposed to be a badass action line.
Well, what's funny, like that was such a lame kill. Oh, the glove through the chest. It's funny because that is just a ripoff of Hellraiser 3. Because remember, Noah, there's that scene where Pinhead startles the guy and he's like, Jesus Christ. And Pinhead's like, not quite. And somehow that's better than this.
That's better.
Yeah. And I think this was also riffing on that line in the first one when he says, "This is God." So I think it's riffing on that. But now, this is a great idea. So he just says, like,
Noah's gone.
It was bound to happen. So this is a scary idea.
Dude, you just like appeared and disappeared like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, we're in the dream world. Okay, so Freddy just killed that guy and said, after your heart stops beating, like your brain can still be active for like 7 minutes. That means we have 6 more minutes to play. And you're like, oh shit, what's he gonna do now? Oh, we cut away.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's probably my favorite Freddy moment because it's the most that feels like Freddy. Like he's messing.
And then we cut away. Then we don't do anything with it.
Then we cut to these two hipster bullshit.
Also, I don't remember if this comes up more in any of the sequels or not, but the idea that, like the dream world moves differently than the real world, like there's a difference in
I think,
time. I
I
think
think the
that's
only thing that really comes up with that is the time loop in 4.
maybe. And again, like that's something you can do with this dream premise. There is so much you can do with it. There's so much potential that
The
it's just not
possibilities are
doing.
literally limitless.
Mhm.
Kylie just wanted to cuddle until the brain died. I mean, this Freddy probably.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, is this Freddy a sadist? Like, is he actually evil? Is he just
Well,
mad?
he's definitely actually evil. We'll get to by the end.
You know what his origin needed? It needed those stupid little 3D sperm things from Freddy's Dead.
I want it all.
I would have liked this movie maybe like half a point higher if they'd included those things.
But they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that, John, because this movie's trying to be dark and serious.
I mean, it is dark. I can't see what's happening in the scene.
I mean,
that's true. What is the canon Freddy flashback for you? The Freddy's Dead one or the Freddy versus Jason one? Because they're shot very differently.
Probably. There's things I like in both of them. I love how just stupid the little demon things look. But there's a moment in the flashback when the first thing is thrown and Robert Englund spins around into shit like, what's that? But also neither of those line up with that like montage at the beginning of the first movie.
This mom also isn't a great actor.
So the only thing I know her from is American Horror Story.
She good in that?
I don't know. I didn't finish that season, but funnily enough, Kate Mara is also in that same season.
Rooney Mara's sister.
No, it's weird because I remember that show was really big, and it feels like as he's put out more shows, people have just like turned on Ryan Murphy because they've realized he's kind of a hack.
That's one of those long-running shows that like nobody watches, but they keep making it. Like I guess somebody's watching it.
Well, and he went on and did other stuff because he did that Hatchet show. He did that even Evan Peters show a couple years ago that everybody was memeing about Jeffrey Dahmer.
Dahmer. I didn't realize that was the same person.
And then no, because he loves to work with Evan Peters for some reason. And then they just put out a new show that I've heard nobody talk anything good about. It's just clowning on it. You could have at least kept the shitty alcoholic mom. Like, give me something to enjoy this movie.
And
oh my god,
it's the bathtub scene.
It's the no nudity clause.
And it feels like, again, I don't want to complain and say that this movie needs gratuitous nudity. It doesn't, but it feels like we're chopping this down to a PG-13.
Yeah, but also the original scene didn't have any nudity.
It didn't, but it's less distracting because we just cut to her in the bathtub. We don't do this awkward disrobing, teasing the audience.
That's true.
But it feels like a TV cut of it. Okay, I could be mistaken. I feel like her knees are CGI in this shot, but the hand is real.
Oh.
That could be incorrect.
Her knees?
It's so stupid I want to believe that's true.
I mean,
it's possible. It doesn't really look it. Teddy, speaking of horror remakes, I'm still waiting for the remake of 1978 Magic. I think with the right director, you can do something cool with that. I think that's that movie that Raimi's directing.
Yeah, last I heard, Raimi was attached to a remake of that. I don't know if that's still happening though.
Yep. So bathtub scenes.
Here's what people. Yeah, that was pointless.
Why did they even do that?
Remember the original. Kyle, I don't know. Murphy is killing it. He made the Mendez show on Netflix and refused to talk to anyone to read up about it and made up facts. It's like super great. Ooh, that's unfortunate. I hadn't heard about that.
And the dumber
What's your
one,
source? I made it the fuck up.
not to get too sidetracked, the Dahmer one I think was like polarizing and controversial more than it was like hated. Because there were
No,
some
I
people.
just remember it was a big meme on like TikTok and shit at the time. I think most people agreed that like at least Evan Peters was really good.
Yeah, I heard that a lot. I haven't watched it.
I probably
out
will
for
never watch it.
verification. Me neither.
Don't you hate it when it snows in your bedroom?
That happened to me like a week ago.
You gotta shovel it all out.
That's the most creative this movie gets with the dreams. Is what if there was snow?
What if there was snow?
And she's barefoot without getting sick.
You moron.
That must be really painful.
Little Nancy.
Or uncomfortable. That's really creepy.
Again, comparing these is weird because Robert Englund probably doesn't have more screen time as Freddy in the original than Jackie Earle Haley gets in this. He just has so much more presence in that original. Like his little bits just stand out so much more.
Freddy's-
With Jackie Earle Haley, they always feel cut short.
England says little, but his presence is felt. Jackie Earle Haley's Freddy won't shut the fuck up. You forget about him 5 minutes after the scene. But Kyle, is this like we watched the movie on our own with you guys synced up for commentary? Yeah. The timestamp's down at the bottom.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not streaming for free anywhere currently. So you can rent it if you want, or if you happen to own it. And of course,
Robert
this
is
will
the
be
only
posted
person
after.
who owns this movie. Fun fact.
That's probably correct.
Yeah, not even me, and this is my favorite movie.
Yeah. Wait,
And
we're back to the bathtub scene?
yeah, because that whole thing was a dream.
She thought,
Oh,
that was her dream.
yeah. So, what was the point of the hand?
Because remember?
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
I don't think that's healthy.
No.
Pills and Red Bull.
And
People bought this movie. Robert has it right there behind him.
no, I bought an extra copy of Freddy vs. Jason and the Friday the 13th remake, and it came with a free coaster.
Wouldn't it be cheaper to rent the fucking thing?
But at least he
Teddy,
has
this
that
is
unique
$80.
free pack in his collection now.
Teddy, the Dahmer one was way more accurate, and most people agreed. It was technically good. The controversial part is just the whole should this be a thing in the first place?
So it sounds like they put effort into it.
That's silly, of course.
Well, that's a whole other conversation. I don't want to get too sidetracked. There's a lot of conversation about like how the violence is depicted, like how they handle the subject matter, all that stuff. And you know,
oh, okay, I see why. Okay, blame Kyle. Hi, Kyle. By the way, thanks for stopping in. So for anyone who doesn't know, that was the guy that I originally started this channel with, and he's in the very first video on the channel. And we talked for like an hour about Evil Dead.
That's awesome.
Welcome.
Or Evil Dead 2. Dahmer was good and pretty accurate, but almost like shamed the victims and made Dahmer like hot and sexual rather than scary and weird. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I did hear about that. That's certainly a choice.
No, now that I can see more of a question of like, should this exist?
Again, it's a whole can of worms because, to be fair, there are a lot of ladies who are really into Dahmer for some fucking reason. Like, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, I'm terrible at commitment. Yeah, so he bailed. It's all good. We went through many phases.
So this scene is trying to replicate the Nancy tension with her mom, and her mom's just kind of shutting down. This mom is like, just give me the picture. Just forget all of this.
This isn't even like
so poorly done.
An emotional scene. This is just people talking over each other.
Yeah. This shot's fine. This transition from the photo to this real shot of this cast. Again, that's an okay shot.
So
Yeah, so
It's a
are we meant to, are these kids doing the Freddy nursery rhyme before he's even done anything yet? How am I supposed to interpret that?
yeah, like why?
They made up the nursery rhyme about the guy, the man.
And he's like, "Oh, I should do something with that. I'm inspired." Sorry, Johnny, you're saying.
And this is just such a downgrade in backstory. Like,
Well, like were alluding to earlier, but now we can actually get into it. I'm not opposed to the idea of what if Freddy was innocent? What if somebody else was killing or molesting these kids? The parents thought it was Freddy, and in a hasty feast of rage, maybe Freddy gets scared and runs away, and that's why the parents think he's guilty and then burn him. That's a potentially interesting angle. Like they turned him into the monster they decided he was or thought he was. Or
yeah,
just keep
no,
it
that could be
ambiguous.
a cool idea. Like, instead, it's
The
like,
movie
well,
commits.
maybe he's innocent. Just kidding.
Just kidding. That's the cardinal sin it commits. It's what if he didn't do it? Oh, just kidding, he did. Then what was the point of that?
That's the common theme with this movie is that it can't pick a lane. It can't.
Yes.
It wants to do too many things, so it ends up just becoming mush.
And the counter argument is, well, but Freddy actually being a pedophile and attacking these kids makes him scary, more of a monster. Okay, just go with that. Don't make it a mystery for half the movie.
Yeah, either do that or make him innocent.
Which I would argue is maybe potentially scarier and makes his motivation like, no, you fucking kids got me burned alive and I'm gonna kill you all
No, and it would
to
be
punish
such a
you and your
unique
punishment.
take on the slasher genre. Where it's like, no, the slasher's kind of in the right. Maybe he's going to an extreme. Imagine with the remake, they changed the children's rhyme 1, 2, Freddy's confused to 3, 4, where's all the gore? Yeah, that's potentially good, but the movie has commitment issues. Yeah, I mean,
Definitely.
same. Kyle, you're always welcome back to come on one of these commentaries.
Is he in the Discord?
I don't think so. I should invite him.
But anyway, this pool scene.
Anyway.
Oh, and it's over.
And it's gone.
This really makes me laugh. Just all the kids with the X's on their faces. Like dead. Oh, that one's alive.
Hey, she's doing detective work.
On Gigablast. That sounds like a porn site.
Yeah, that's not a great name for your alternate Google. Gigablast.
Okay, so here's my other big problem with this premise, with this take. That's really stupid, and in my opinion, makes this way dumber than the original. So all of these kids who Freddy molested or attacked all have collective memory loss? That's never explained?
Yeah.
It's fine if it's like just our protagonist and childhood trauma, she blocked it out and now the memories are coming back. Like, that's fine. Every kid, they're like 5.
I guess that's supposed to be the idea, is that the traumatic effect blocked it out for everyone, but it's
For
just,
everyone. It's stupid.
yeah.
One of them would have remembered.
Yeah.
Because we were setting that up at the beginning with not Tina Chris, who's like, I was in that photo with him, but I didn't know him when I was a kid. It's like, you should.
Gigablast sounds like a porno.
Yep.
But now we're kind of doing the bathtub scene.
Kinda.
And now he's at the boiler factory.
I also forgot about the guy burned alive at 5.
Oh.
You got something. You got some. Okay, so he is having a dream about a flashback he wasn't there for. Explain this
So
to me.
Freddy is showing him
this,
this scene.
yeah, that's it. That's easy. Freddy's showing it to him.
I guess, but they never
Yeah,
talk
why
about
not?
it. I don't know why Freddy's showing him this. It never comes up again.
Yeah. Dawn doesn't work the same way for every kid. Yeah, exactly. No, and I remember this was a big trailer shot. And
Yes.
I was like, oh shit, like we're gonna get more of like Freddy's backstory. No, we get about the same amount at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Oh no,
And
sorry,
this
we
is
do
part-
get more because the original doesn't have any backstory for Freddy.
Oh,
And this is-
did we mention that yet?
No, he hasn't brought it up. I'm shocked.
Oh, okay. I'll put a pin in that.
Okay.
Because this is a scene where the movie wants you to sympathize with Freddy, and that's why it feels like a cheat. Because it's like, oh, maybe he was framed. You know, like it's really fucked up what this mob is doing. It's got that Texas Chainsaw 3D thing where it's
Somehow
like
that movie does
they
it
want
better.
to. It does do it better, but it's like, look, we want you to hate this angry mob. Don't you feel bad for this horrible monster? It's like, no, I don't.
No.
Once you've seen the movie and know where it's going, what's the point of this? Why are you trying to make me feel bad for him now?
I just
And
need
make these
Freddy
guys
or
evil.
somebody to look at Freddy and go, "Do your thing," cuz.
Oh god, I would rather watch that movie than this. That movie's at least more entertaining. And
No, that is
so
just a
Clancy
straight up better
Brown.
movie.
So, like I said, Clancy Brown, they kind of make a bad guy, but then he just drops out of the movie and we just don't commit to it. And the scene also poses an interesting idea of, well, maybe they weren't trying to kill Freddy, they were just trying to set the building on fire to get him to get him out, to flush him out, to then beat him up and confront him or arrest him or whatever. Like, because the way they handle the sequence, it's going to set off an explosion that they're not expecting. So it's like, oh, maybe it was kind of an accident. Like they weren't trying to kill him; they were just trying to flush him out of this building.
The problem
And
with
then we
that
don't
is
do
we're
anything with
getting
that.
this like really slow mo. Oh, I
Yeah.
took my jacket off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot that slow-mo, like, goofy reveal of the shirt. Like, oh, it's the Freddy Krueger shirt.
Oh, to get ready for a visual effect. Ah, like
Oh my god.
it's laughable.
He looks
If
like
they ever do another
Nick
Nightmare
Cage.
remake, I do think one thing they should take from this is the framed ankle, but actually do it. Yeah, no, it would be super
I
cool.
agree.
Yeah.
It'd be different.
Because the thing I like most about Jason, other than just he's cool, is there is kind of that spirit of vengeance thing to him where
Yeah.
he only kills people that are doing the things that got him killed.
Right. And then it becomes in the sequel was like a territory thing. Just stay out of Crystal Lake and he'll leave you
You'll be
alone.
fine.
Just don't go to Crystal
Until you
Lake.
get to that one movie where he body hopped. Then I don't know what's going
Except for
on.
that one movie.
Here's
yeah,
a
and Jason,
Friday
like you said,
carryover.
I noticed that. I was like, is that same actor?
And he has so much less personality in this movie.
Yeah. Again, I like this idea on paper, like this guy with these vlogs about these Freddy attacks. Even though it's gonna end with him smashing a camera. And then how did he upload this footage after? It's not live.
He totally took Manhattan. That's true. But I mean, Manhattan's just a boat away from Crystal Lake.
If they were to do this movie a few years later, this wouldn't be his own website. It would just be a YouTube channel.
Mhm.
Also, why did he only torment this one kid for so long before moving on to the others? Because then after that, he doesn't pick one. He just whoever falls asleep.
Oh my god, he died. And then
His corpse
he jump
uploaded
scared
the
died. And then his corpse uploaded the footage.
Jump scare for the footage, and then the hand on the shoulder jump scare.
Oh god, I hate the jump scares in this movie. But yeah, this is our big scene where we confront Clancy Brown, and it's like maybe Freddy was innocent. Maybe you guys jumped the gun, and maybe this is your fault. And they pose like they do kind of frame Clancy Brown as maybe a bad guy, and then he's just out of the movie, and we don't do more with him. Uh,
No, and you make the parents look really bad because they leave out the whole warrant thing, which to be fair, I don't know if that's in the original. I think it is.
in the original, it's like they didn't read him his rights or something, or just like there
And
was
the
some
case got,
fuck
like,
up
thrown out.
somewhere. Yeah,
I
and the
think
case
it's the
got thrown out.
same. I think it's consistent that it's like a warrant was signed properly or something. They don't do any of that here, and it's just the parents decided instead of going to the cops like rational people, we're going to burn him alive. And I don't buy that they didn't plan on it because they do the slow mo like Superman-esque shirt reveal.
Yeah.
I also don't know why he immediately jumped to, how do you know we were telling the truth? Kyle, oh shoot, did I miss you guys watching the 84 one? Yeah, we did that one first.
Yeah, it'll be uploaded later. It can
I
still
mean, the whole
be viewed.
stream will be live too.
But okay, so to get back to what you guys were talking about earlier, oh, let me see if I can find it. Because I was before we did these commentaries, I watched some of the behind the scenes stuff. And this wasn't extensive. Oh, look, first movie.
It's the first one, yeah.
Except she's gonna jump scare, scream at the camera.
Screw
So
your
that's scary.
pass.
But yeah, so it's just like there's like 15 minutes of behind the scenes footage on this. And there's a bit with the screenwriter where he says, I found that Freddy had very little in the way of a background and a mythology to him in the original films. And I'm like, what? And then a producer says, and all the other nightmares, they never explain why Freddy is after these kids. What?
They never explained that.
I mean, I could maybe understand that if he's talking about like 4 and on. But
the first movie explains it. The very first movie explains that. The movie you're remaking.
Teddy, we gonna burn him alive. Okay, hold on. Shouldn't we at least try the cops first? Shut up, Drew. Who invited Drew? I hate Drew.
Hey, evil dies tonight.
That is also a movie
Oh
that
my
is
God,
better
jump
than
scare.
this.
It is.
Okay, now here's
Like
the true question in terror. This or Ends?
Oh, I prefer Ends over this.
I prefer Ends as well.
That's easy.
Yeah.
That's a better movie.
That is false, sir. This is your favorite movie.
Oh, I mean,
That's true.
No, this is my favorite movie ever made. It's good. It's really good.
I think I might also prefer Ends, which I can't believe I'm at a point where I'm saying that.
I mean, you can still hate Ends.
That opening of Ends is hilarious and better than anything in this movie.
That's true.
Yeah.
Evil dies tonight. Speaking of which, if you haven't yet, please vote on our Halloween poll. We will be doing a Halloween movie on Halloween. Right now, Halloween 3 is winning, which
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I hope it wins. I'm rooting for it.
I thought maybe 2 would win.
I thought 2 might win.
2's not getting as many votes
idea
as
where
I
she's like going
expected.
through drastic things to keep herself awake, like burning herself.
Yeah,
I like this. I like this
I
idea.
feel like we got
I don't know
kinda
if she'd
late.
have that like little of a reaction though. I burnt myself. It hurts like a bitch.
Mhm.
Jesus, yeah. And I mean, I think a lot of people can relate to like trying to stay awake for when your body is just telling you to fall asleep and you're just like nodding off every second. So
Yeah, and again, maybe it's just a direction thing, but these characters just look like they're on drugs. Like, I think that first movie even though we said we don't think Heather Langenkamp's a great actress, that first movie still communicates that idea better, that we're seeing her slowly deteriorate and kind of lose
This might
herself
be my
throughout the
favorite
movie.
idea in the movie though, where she's
like the
going in
microscope.
between the 2 worlds.
This
yeah,
shot's
I like
kinda
this.
cool. It's a good trailer shot. But yeah, the phasing in and out of the dream
And this is a good build up to Freddy. It could have been at the beginning of the movie, but
I agree. That's my problem. It's every Freddy scene is the same thing. I get it. He's in the boiler room. He's walking slowly. He's scratching. Like, there's no variety with these Freddy scenes. That's my big problem with it.
Also, I don't buy that it's that easy to rip off a piece of a sweater. Blame Kyle. Let's spend 2 movies building up Michael as an evil entity. That every time he kills, he gets stronger. Let's make Kill show him actually getting stronger than ever after almost dying as he kills. Now he's homeless in a sewer, getting beat up. That's the Blumhouse trilogy.
Yeah, that trilogy. It keeps going back and forth on if he's a supernatural entity or if he's just a regular person. No, that is like one of the big problems of that trilogy. But Halloween Ends is a better movie than this.
Yes. But I have discovered that Jason Goes to Hell is a better Halloween Ends than Halloween Ends.
I agree.
That's interesting.
Also, again, not to get too sidetracked, but that is a fun movie. And again, not to get too sidetracked, Halloween is also a franchise that made Michael just a henchman for a stupid cult. Like we've ruined Michael before.
No, we do.
He sucks at a lot of those movies.
I would watch the Thorn trilogy over Ends. I think Ends is a miserable experience.
I don't know. 6 is pretty miserable for me. But that's just a taste
No, but
thing.
6 is also insane.
Yeah.
Those Ends.
It has Loomis.
But by 6 it's just sad. Like he's doing his best, but he's so old.
No.
Also,
No.
That's 4.
I know, but it's still fun. Teddy's
at least
3.
get more
I would
Loomis.
love it if they went with the anthology idea. That could have been so cool. I have always said 2 was a mistake because you set the pattern that this is the Michael Myers franchise.
Right. Well, it's like, and this is what happened. They had an idea for a sequel and then split it into 2 movies and didn't know how to execute that.
Yeah. Well, and I always wondered too, because they originally announced it as a duology. What the hell was that duology?
I think
if Ends, if anything from Ends is like part of what that original second movie is going to be, how do you get from 2018 to Ends?
I think shifting to another killer was always the idea. Why you don't set him up in kills, I don't know. But anyway, we're getting too
blame Kyle. Ends would have been a great standalone movie, not a Halloween movie. I stopped watching it kills and I watch occasionally by itself. I mean, but Ends, I've seen Ends as a standalone movie. It's called Christine.
Yeah, that's better, obviously. So yeah,
this is not the Halloween.
Right. It's almost like we don't want to talk about this movie.
Yeah, it's almost like nothing happening.
Yeah.
Just put that Gordy guy in Kills or 2018 so we know who he is. Just randomly throwing him in there makes no sense in making the lead. Yeah, I don't care about Corey because I don't know who he is. Also, has anyone actually done that yet? Like their anthology franchises, but with short individual stories within the movie. Has anyone done an anthology franchise
Cloverfield,
where each movie is a full separate film?
Yeah, well, the same thing happens every time. We try that for a movie like we did with Halloween 3, and then we eventually backtrack and go back to the first thing. Cloverfield, same thing. Cloverfield 1 and 2, completely separate standalone movies. By 3, fuck it, here's the Cloverfield monster at the very end. They're all connected. Sequel bait. And now we're doing the real Cloverfield 2.
That was the only one I could think of was Cloverfield.
I don't think so. I just think anthologies suit themselves much more to TV.
To television, yeah. Well, and Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which I love, should not have been called Halloween 3. It should have just been called Halloween Season of the Witch.
Well, do the Tales from the Crypt movies count?
I see that as more of an extension of the show, but that's fair. Those are 2
all
separate.
3 movies are separate.
Or 3. Yeah.
Well, so do you?
That's fair.
I always forget that there's a third one.
I have got to send you. So the third one.
Robert, have you seen?
They cut out the Crypt Keeper stuff because the second one bombed, and so on the DVD they added it back in, and it's really awkwardly shot because it's like a doll from the haunted house attraction or whatever. And because that movie says it's in Jamaica, they put dreads on him and make him talk in a Jamaican accent. It is amazing.
It's so bad.
Can he fight Jack Black in I Still Know We Did That Summer?
I will send you that when we're done. Hello, Jareth. Kyle, Cloverfield Paradox was his own movie. Then they threw the monster in at the end to connect it. Yeah.
Did you guys like that shitty Freddy jump scare that just happened?
Oh, did you miss me jump? From
You were
Taylor?
like, oh.
They're not movies, but I mean, you could make an argument that the house shows do that. Hill House and Bly Manor, same actors, just different stories.
Yeah. I guess. Fuck. Like the modern thing that's actually done the anthology thing and stuck to it. I guess it's those VHS movies.
Yeah,
I don't think any of them are
but,
connected or have.
but those
direct
aren't
sequels,
one
but I haven't
ongoing
seen them.
story. They're just it's a bunch of short
Yeah.
stories.
Each one is a bunch of short stories.
You
so it's
should
still a
watch
little
the
bit.
new one for Kate Siegel's bit.
I've heard it's great.
It's really
Yeah, I
good.
should check it out.
I find those
Oh
to
my
be hit or
God.
miss, and I don't. Especially, it depends on how much you like found footage, but because that's like the shtick with all of them is they're all found footage short
Mhm.
films.
Why is this movie still going?
Because it's your favorite movie.
It's
I've
so
just-
dense. There's so much
I've
going.
seen it too many times.
There's so many vistas.
The vistas of a boiler room.
Like VHS and Trick or Treat is going to make more might connect. I mean, they might, but I mean, those are still just like Teddy said, short stories within a
Mhm.
film.
And Trick or Treat 2, we've been waiting on for like 15 years. But we are getting a comic that was just announced, so
Yeah.
looking forward to checking that out.
I need to rewatch that movie. I wasn't super hot on it the first time I watched it, but it had its moments.
I like it a lot.
You know, movie's bad when you're trying to talk about literally anything. Yeah.
And like I said, hate is a strong word. Like I've seen worse movies than this. I don't think this is the worst remake ever
This
made.
is-
Like there are movies that piss me off more. I just don't
This
think it's
is kind of at the bottom of the barrel of my remake list.
Again, I don't know. Like Exorcist Believer still pisses me off more than this.
I'm
That's not a
not-
remake.
No,
I'm
that's
not
not a remake.
I'm not angry with this movie. It's bad, and I just
And
don't
The Exorcist
particularly
is a whole
care.
different thing because Exorcist isn't a slasher where it's like I want the slasher to come back. I didn't need the Exorcist to come back. I want Freddy to come back, and this is what I got.
But the Exorcist, when we were talking about like soft reboots earlier, Exorcist Believer is one of those where it's a new film for a new generation, and it's also just a remake of the first movie. Like it's trying to do both, and it sucks.
I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed you guys in this movie. I mean, that's me. No, it's like fuck
Sounds
yeah,
pretty
this
bad.
movie rocks. I'm outraged.
I'm the number one fan of this movie.
This and RoboCop are kind of, I think, some of the bottom of the barrel worst remakes I've ever seen.
RoboCop is just more bland. I find this movie, I don't find it offensive, but there's just like a lot of baffling choices in it.
So many missed opportunities.
I don't use this word lightly. The way they handled the child thing in this is kind of offensive to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see that.
it's like I said, it's. I get it. It's supposed to be gross. It's supposed to be disturbing. And why is Dick Butt on the wall? Why is there a drawing of Dick Butt?
But they don't do any of it. You have to do that tastefully.
You have to do that delicately. That's what I was getting at. Is if you're going to explore that subject matter in a horror movie, which you can, you have to do it delicately. Not a goofy movie about a guy who kills you in your dreams.
Yeah. Jareth, you heard I got Katie Cassidy to autograph a picture of this. It was the only horror picture at her table.
Oh,
Tell
least you got
okay,
a
what
picture.
American Horror Story is, but instead of seasons, a bunch of movies. Yeah. Kyle, usually horror can be so bad it's actually entertaining, at least score wise. So he just has nothing. It's almost not even funny how bad. Yeah. No, like
Yeah.
I like bad movies. This isn't that kind of bad movie. Although the ending, the way they kill Freddy in this is funny because they just rip off the Freddy versus Jason death.
They do. The ending of this is also bizarre. It's reshot, but like they didn't make it better. We'll get to it when we get to
They
it.
somehow made it just as confusing as the original.
Yeah. What was I going to Sorry.
This sucks.
Sorry.
No,
Some
this
people
is
like this.
this is the scene. Yeah, this is
This
the
is the
scene where you
scene.
figure it out. And I'm just like uncomfortable. I get that it's probably the intention to make you
It's like
uncomfortable, but it's
it's
like I don't want to be watching something like this in a slasher movie.
he's not after us. He lied. He's after us because we told the truth. Oh my God, Freddy actually did it. Yeah, I've seen these movies. I know who this character is. Why are we playing this like a reveal?
Like,
It would be a
Nina Nash
reveal
versus
if he
Michael
was
or
innocent.
Jason or Freddy ASAP before Ash gets told. I feel like we're 10, 15 years too late for that. Bruce
I
Campbell
agree.
doesn't want to do
I
it.
want it. I want it animated. Just get Campbell
That'd be great.
and England to do the voices. That's all you need. I want it animated. But
You can also
alas.
get someone to voice Jason.
I mean, he does talk in that second Freddy versus Jason versus Ash crossover.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Why would you be the only one that can bring him out? What?
Because he's the most interested in her until he's not.
Yeah,
'Cause
they
he's just
also
gonna
play like
prank
they're
her.
gonna play it. He's gonna reveal later like you were my favorite. Why?
I don't know.
Why is Nancy so important?
I don't know why Freddy's dragging this out.
Don't these characters just have so much chemistry?
Well, look, we're paying off
Yeah.
an earlier scene when she looks at his necklace and is like, I didn't peg you for a religious type. I'm like, I haven't pegged him for any type. I don't know this guy.
I just know that his name is Quentin.
I don't know if
So
that
he's
old
probably-
Ash would be
Yeah, his
hilarious
name is-
to take on Freddy. But in his dreams, Ash is built like young Terminator banging every girl. No, you can do something fun with that. It's more so just that Bruce Campbell doesn't want to do it live action anymore.
Yeah, he's too old. Didn't you guys really feel that kiss? Don't you get
Oh,
really
yeah.
hot and bothered when you're in the room of a stash of inappropriate photos?
Don't even finish that thought, Robert.
Jared, I'm surprised they didn't cross over this Freddy with 09 Jason. They were made by the same company. That's because this movie tanked their entire slasher remake.
Yeah,
Oh,
it made
yeah.
money. I'm so confused by this whole thing.
Teddy,
Oh,
oh my
yeah,
God, he did it. Yes, we know. We've seen the original. If you had balls and made him innocent, that would have been a reveal.
Exactly, Teddy. I agree.
Remember how cool it
kinda-
was to watch them booby trap the house in the original and like made them smart and creative.
But
this is just-
John, that's silly. That's
It's
like
goofy,
Home
like
Alone.
Home Alone.
But in this is I
This
got
is
a
better.
sharp thing.
I actually kind of like that makeshift weapon. But
Punisher for this
reaching.
character.
I'm reaching for compliments.
Yeah,
I'm with-
is not great in this movie, but she's a
She
good
is
actor.
not.
I really
Normally,
like
she's a
09
good
Jason.
actor.
I really like that movie, especially the same Winchester. I like that movie a lot, and it's on
I
our wheel.
love 09 Jason.
I kind of wish we had seen 09 Jason crossover with this Freddy. Can you imagine?
And
Yeah,
I might
that
be
sounds like
alone
such
when-
a fun crossover. Like Jason fights a supernatural pedophile. It sounds like a great time.
And I will say, if you got the right filmmaker attached, I don't know if you guys are probably going to disagree with this. I don't know if a sequel to this would have been unsalvageable 10 years ago. You just need a new cast of characters and new creatives behind the camera. But again, I like Jackie Earle Haley fine. I think it
I
would
don't
have been
think this is
doable.
unsalvageable. You would have just had to do kind of like a Nightmare 2 where we just move on. Don't
Yeah,
mention
just new
anything that
characters.
happened in this movie.
Which is funny because Rooney Mara signed on for like 3 movies.
That's hilarious.
Her and Jackie Earle Haley. Unfortunately, we never got that trilogy.
But if they did that Freddy versus Jason, they could do that unused script from the 03 movie where Freddy was a camp counselor at Camp Crystal Lake that abused Jason.
Hey guys, remember the boiler room?
See, like even when he's witty, he's monotone. Like I don't know what to take from this character.
Me neither.
That's Jason kills Michael and Freddy. They made him smart and a hunter. He's also like 6'8", 300 pounds. So scary. No, he is legitimately intense in that movie. A real boy.
I do think that "fuck you" line is probably the best joke in this movie, and like you said, like you can imagine England selling it better.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's just.
But it's just gross.
No, because you just get, oh, sounds fun, and then in the connotation that what he did to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just seedy.
Kyle, this is
But
what you
no,
get.
it's a horror movie.
Freddy. Yeah. That's a good shot of Freddy.
Oh, it's Halloween.
Yeah, he looks good.
They're gonna do the Halloween closet scene.
Nah, they're gonna do a jump scare.
No, it's Dead by Daylight.
Spoiler alert. This Freddy is in Dead by Daylight.
Boo.
And this Quentin, of all people.
Who cares? Oh, he actually does say boo. I was just
I thought you were ahead of me.
No, I was just waiting for the jump scare to happen.
No, this movie can't decide if this is like part 4 Freddy or part 1 Freddy.
Oh my god, he's sinking in quicksand.
Hey, remember the stairs?
Yeah.
No, he did the wet dream line. Did you stand up and cheer?
Yeah.
You stood up slowly and clapped.
Just with a stone face expression, like.
Oh, and look, it looks kind of like Glenn's death, but shitty.
That was terrible. What horror remakes do you think are better than the original? I mean, The Thing, The Fly.
The same go-to answers you've heard a million times. All those 80s ones.
I don't have any hot takes. Like, there are remakes that I like more than most people do, but none of them are better than the original.
I can't really say with The Thing or The Fly because with those I've only seen the remakes, so
no, but I have to imagine they're better just because they're more sophisticated and like those movies were just designed for like couples to sit at a drive-in.
That's actually not true. The original Fly and The Thing are quality sci-fi movies.
Oh,
The Blob is more what you're thinking of.
Yeah,
and the original Blob.
I can't imagine either The Fly or the what was the other one?
The Thing.
Fly and The Thing. Neither one of those can be better than the remakes, right?
I think the remakes are better. And Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the 50s one, I think is very good.
Speaking of that,
but the remake,
I finally watched the remake, the 70s one. It was really good.
I
did not know the fucking Jeff Goldblum and Leonard Nimoy were in it.
Yeah,
that movie has a stacked cast.
It does. Also, because I've seen the ending of that movie just because it was a big meme there for a while. Yeah. That was so much more horrifying in context. If somebody pointed at me and made that noise, I'm running the other way.
I mean, you're dead.
Also, because I'd rather talk about that movie than this movie. Do you remember the scene earlier on when like that old homeless guy is running through the traffic? The car's like, you're next, and then he dies, and that's kind of one of your first like ominous moments.
Yeah.
Do you remember the scene I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That guy is the protagonist in the 50s one. And there's a scene near the end where he's shouting, "You're next, you're next," and like that's how you do a callback. Like that's how you do something.
This is gross. Like shove her in the dress.
It is gross,
and it's gross because the movie's kind of reveling in it.
It is, and so we're making this big deal about like her being Freddy's favorite, and then he's just gonna try and kill her, and I'm like, why didn't you do this an hour ago? Like I don't.
So his whole plan was to get her to sleep long enough that she'd never wake up again. Ew.
I don't know why he couldn't just do this earlier. I don't.
Jared says, I think Friday 09 is better than the first 3. It is better than 1 and 3, maybe. Yeah, but I can't put it over part 2.
I think I agree with that, actually. No,
Well,
No, I
because-
like.
That's because you hate slasher movies. We've well documented this.
Well, but I like the '09 Friday. I don't know.
Yeah, I like the original Friday the 13th, but I do prefer the remake.
No, so Kyle, you can't beat the original Friday the 13th. Don't get me wrong. I like the original Friday the 13th, but what really holds up that movie is the last like 20 minutes.
Yes,
The remake is better.
that movie has pacing issues.
But to be
It's got very
fair, the remake also has 10 movies to build on. So it's not an even comparison.
Okay, so this ending is heavily reshot. Originally, because I watched the deleted scene earlier, when he's like in bed with Nancy, he changes himself to look like normal Freddy, and it's actually kind of creepier because you're not looking at shitty makeup. You're just looking at Jackie Earle Haley perform, and then when he's in the real world, it's also just Jackie Earle Haley. He doesn't have the makeup, but the fight also plays out very similarly. And I don't know why they bothered reshooting all of it.
Yeah, why won't you just fucking die?
Ugh. Also, this fight sucks. Like, you don't want to do the Home Alone traps, fine, but can't this be brutal? Like, let this be
Oh,
bloody. Let
I
it be
forgot.
violent.
It's not just that they steal the kill; they steal the fucking
He
line.
says the line.
Yep.
Freddy versus Jason did it better.
You can't beat the original. Blame cut. Your tits are
You're-
stupendous. Best line in '09. Yes,
That's true.
that's. I'm gonna name the commentary for '09 just stupendous.
Oh, we should. And like I said, like that fight is over so quickly. You don't want to do the Home Alone traps, fine, but like let it be brutal. Can't you draw it out a little?
I mean, to be fair, Quentin's hurting.
Yeah, he got stabbed in
Stabbed.
the shoulder. Yeah, and in the first version they shot, instead of Freddy getting slashed across the throat, like she beats him with a baseball bat and then sets him on fire, but like it still plays out very similar
No,
to what
once
they
you
reshot.
take
I don't know why
Freddy
they
out of
bothered.
the dream world in this, especially in this movie, he's kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
Because he has all of his powers in the dream world. Which
That's
is
what
why it
the
doesn't
Nightmare
make any
2 is a
sense that,
mistake.
that I was
immediate
just
thing
about to
you're gonna
say.
do is pull him into the real
But-
world.
That
And
doesn't
again-
make any sense.
To be fair though, like that's not until really the end of that movie.
Like, why?
Again, I like the premise of 2 with controlling
You're wrong.
people sleepwalking.
You're wrong, Robert.
I think
Wrong.
You're wrong.
Oh, shut up, Noah. This one's your favorite.
Yeah, I don't know where you
Yeah.
have room to judge.
It's the best one.
At least Freddy versus
well-
Jason knows what it is. Yeah, no, and that's the other
Sure.
thing is this movie doesn't understand what it is. You're not
Yeah, the
being
nightmare's
profound. It's
over.
not profound. It's not deep. It's sleazy and gross, but in all the wrong ways.
And the
Not in
kills
a
aren't
fun way.
memorable.
Yeah.
He just cuts people with his glove.
This is like the least imaginative Freddy. I have all the power to control the dreams. I'm gonna poke you.
Gonna poke you.
I'm gonna use my little fingers.
Blame Tom, best slasher ever, Peeping Tom. I still gotta see that.
I do too.
Everybody be quiet. We're at the best scene.
Oh my god. Oh no.
Oh.
It's turned into a shitty 3D effect.
Okay. So A, I don't understand what's happening. However, I want to give that one small piece of like prop when she stands back up and her reflection is Freddy. That was cool.
That's alright.
It's like that much. That's all
It's
I can give.
it's
it.
My problem with
immediately-
the scene,
It's immediately undercut by the CGI.
Yeah.
who is dreaming in that scene? Nancy or her mom?
Yes.
I don't know.
Who is the dreamer?
Kyle,
Oh
how
my
do
God.
you take all of the amazing kills from all of the Elm Streets and come up with this movie?
Good question. Another thing I wanted to talk about with deleted footage that's not on the deleted scenes, but it's in the behind the scenes footage. It's all like B-roll stuff. There's
What's
a lot of
this
shots.
Credits music.
Yeah, it's just it's a dream. It's a song that is dream in the
dream.
lyrics. So It's ironic.
I should have just brought back Doc and Dream Warriors. That would have at least been cool.
So
They should have brought back It's a Nightmare.
That one's better. There's all this B-roll footage of Jackie Earle Haley's Freddy in like a big cloak. And he looks kind of cool. And I don't know where that was supposed to be in this movie, but it was something cut out. And there's another shot in the behind the scenes stuff where he's got like a prosthetic face mask of Kyle Gallner's character, Quentin, where he like cuts it open. There's like a green screen behind him, and he like cuts the face open, and boo, it's Freddy. And it's like, oh, why is that in the movie? That looked all right.
So it's the
behind
cut
the scenes
ending
B-roll?
of so it's the cut ending of Freddy versus Jason.
Kind of. I don't think it would have been for the end. I think it would have happened earlier.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, there's just all this behind the scenes B-roll footage of stuff that's just not in the movie and not in the deleted scenes. So I don't know. We don't have a lot of information on like the making of this movie, but it feels like they reshot a lot. And we know that Rooney Mara hated making it and had a miserable experience.
It shows.
Yeah,
it
no, she's
shows.
like non-existent throughout this entire movie.
She's
Like
real
one of
bad.
those, you just have the power to control dreams, and you just stab them with your glove. And people say, "I'm bored."
Right? And like we said, again, Heather Langenkamp, I don't think she's a great actress in that first movie, but there is a likability there. There is a charm. There's an effort. There's an energy that she brings to that role that's just completely absent here.
Yeah, and it's from actors that I know are good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we were talking earlier about whether or not this is like the worst or at the bottom of the barrel for remakes. And I was kind of like, yeah, I don't find this movie that offensive. I think by the time we got to the last third of the movie, with all the like child predator stuff, I'm just like, all right, fuck this movie. I think I'm gonna keep it as half a star.
Wow, this is the worst viewing I've ever had of it. I've never seen somebody flip so hard on a
Freddy
movie.
versus Michael movie where he tries to get into Michael's mind and there's just nothing there. It's going, fuck, and Michael stabbing him without another thought. That would be an interesting crossover. Jareth, I forget what video, but Red Letter talked about some behind the scenes stuff. That's in their commentary for the original. We mentioned that a little bit. All they really mentioned is the main thing I remember is just that Jackie Earle Haley hates the original.
Yeah, and again, it's like, what he said was he just rewatched the original in preparation for the role and was like, oh, this movie sucks. And, that's his opinion. It is what it is. And again, I can see people watching that first movie and saying, oh, this is dated. It isn't scary. It's kind of cheesy. And it is. I just think that movie has a lot more personality and entertainment value. And I just don't find this movie scary. Mm-hmm. I find it kind of dull. And the jump scares obnoxious. And the story choice is questionable. And the lead performance bland.
Okay. I hate to cut this short, but it is almost 11:30. We are running out of time. Okay. I have to call it a night. So, thank you for watching, everybody. If you're watching this after the fact, thank you. And we will be back next time.
Wait, whoa!
Spin the wheel.
Hold on, Jesus! That was just for the recording. Good God!
Thought you were about to sign off.
Yeah, like out of nowhere, you're like, I gotta go.
Yeah, that was for the recording.
That's your typical sign off.
Well, yes, because I didn't want the video to just end when I upload it.
Well, now it's gonna end with this.
No, I already stopped the recording. So now it is time to spin the wheel. If you're watching live, we are not going anywhere just yet.
We gotta do what we get first.
But Noah saying how much you hate this movie and think it's a terrible remake. We'll see where Psycho 1998 ranks on Sunday.
We'll have to see. Yeah. Uh-oh.
You forgot that was the next thing we're doing. Well, no, we're doing something else tomorrow. But on Sunday, we'll be here for Psycho 98.
Wait, oh, yeah, we will have to do that before next Friday.
Okay. Oh, my God.
Wait,
Okay.
Oh
So,
no!
I didn't see it.
I mean, it's still up.
Oh, hold on. Uh-oh.
Okay. So, what I will say is we each get one option to respin. Do either of you want to use your respin option?
No.
Well, we can't do a Christmas movie in November or October.
Okay, so Noah's voting for a respin.
Yeah.
You want to use your respin? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be in 2 weeks. It'll be after October. But okay, so Noah's voting for a respin.
So, we gotta do Black Christmas in
You
December.
already used your respin. It's fine. It's over. Hey.
Okay, well, I gotta wait for it to catch it.
Yeah, me too. Sitting here in suspense.
Let's see.
Hold on, chat. I can't see right now. And we landed on The Evil Dead.
That I am fine with that choice.
Okay.
I own those movies. Don't gotta rebuy them.
Yep.
Kyle, are you
That's a
watching
good
the original
choice.
and the remake? Yes. Every movie on this list is a movie that has a remake. So we are watching the original and the remake. So it will actually be it'll be a bit before we get to this, because Sunday we're doing Psycho 98. The Friday after that, we're going to do Evil Dead 2 and House.
Evil Dead 2.
So somewhere in this timeline, we will fit in.
So the week after that.
So the week after that, or whenever, we will do Evil Dead The Evil Dead and Evil Dead.
So can we establish a rule that since Noah picked a respin on this one, that he doesn't get a respin option on the next one?
Yeah, we all get
Can that
one.
be a role
So
moving
he no longer
Okay.
has any. For
Okay.
the rest of the series.
Also, next time we get Black Christmas, can we, because that movie has 2 remakes, so can we then let the fans vote on which remake we pair with the original? The 06 one or the 2019 one? That's my idea.
Yeah, I'm down.
So the fans, they'll probably pick 2019.
God damn it.
But since that movie has 2 remakes, we could put that in the audience's hands of which one to pair with the first movie. But Evil Dead, that's a great choice. I'm fine with that.
That's weird. So we're gonna be doing Evil Dead 2 with a different movie, and then we're gonna be doing Evil Dead, the other
And
2
the
Evil
Evil
Dead
Dead.
movies. Did we already
Evil
do
Dead
they're
that
all
is
the
a
same
single
commentary?
series. I've watched them all this week again. You and I did the first movie, but I mean, we've got some repeats on here. Like, we're gonna do
Okay.
Texas Chainsaw again.
All right.
Do you really
That's
need
fine.
an
I
excuse
like
to
that.
watch Evil Dead?
No, I like that movie. I'm just trying to figure out what more I can say about it that's new.
And at some point, John and I are gonna. Well, I guess you too. We're gonna do the commentary on season 1.
Yeah.
We'll make November Evil Dead month. We'll see if we can make that work.
Yeah,
Just
I would like to try
nonstop
to get
Evil
that
Dead.
show in there somewhere. The video should end with Robert's reaction. Yeah, it's like they don't know that I upload these separately.
No, we thought we thought you were calling it early.
Which Texas Chainsaw Do Your Thing codes? No. So when
We already did 23.
we already did that. This would be the straight remake, which is the 2003 and then the 1970.
Yes.
What is that?
Yeah.
74.
Hope we get that. Yes.
74.
Hope we get that soon.
Yeah, I'd like to watch that remake again. It's been a long time. So yeah, in a few weeks' time, we will launch the show officially. This is just the pilot, and because Nightmare on Elm Street is having its 40th anniversary, I wanted to get this one out of the way quickly. We will be back tomorrow with some Until Dawn. Noah, if you want to stick around for some more of that and make terrible choices, you're more than welcome to.
We'll see, yeah.
Yeah, thanks guys for hanging out. Robert, Noah, as always, it's been a pleasure. Robert, I'm sorry that you had to finally see this piece of shit.
I've seen it now.
Don't you
I-
fucking dare watch House before we do that commentary, you bastard.
Okay, I'll keep that one in mind. That'll be a pure
Oh.
blind reaction.
Don't do it.
Or what is the actual title, like Houseu or something?
Yeah, House Sue.
It's
Uh,
not House MD.
The Japanese film, not the American horror movie called House, which we've reviewed.
yes. Have a good night, everybody.